Basketball, the hearts of the Big 12. Only fitting we are in the heart of America in Kansas City. It's Big 12 Media Days presented by New Era. 13 of these 16 teams made it to the postseason last year, all of them hoping they will be cutting down the nets in just a few short months right here at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Welcome to Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day. Matt Schick, Sean Farnham, Fran Fraschilla, Commissioner Brett Yormark will join us here in just a couple of moments. Chancellor Johnson will be with us on the side set talking to all of the key players that we're going to talk to. What an exciting time to be a part of this league.
Listen, I think that the brand of the Big 12, and Franny's been the governor, the president, the CEO of Big 12 basketball on ESPN for such a long period of time, but the standard in the of this conference has been elite level play that has produced multiple teams, multiple programs that have gone to Final Fours in the last 7 years, and I think that level of excitement, we start the year at that same point.
We attempted to, I think we're all competing for second best suit here and second best.
I go for third. So I'm just being honest. I'm looking around, I'm going third.
You know, today, did you guys go through the fashion walk? When you came in?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was all about just focusing on kind of who you are off the court, our student athletes in particular, and all of you. You guys look great today.
Thank you.
I love the brown and blue combo.
We nearly wore the identical suit.
Two of us were working out at
I like the solid gray with the contrasting tie. And
thank you. I appreciate it because I'll be honest, when I picked this out, I was like, what should I wear? And I'm like, the commission's coming on. And if I don't have a good suit, like it'll look awful.
I'll say this to the world. Now, Jim Phillips might debate me a little bit. I'm a best-dressed commissioner in college athletics.
Hard to argue.
It's intentional. Okay, if nothing else, it's intentional. But it's great to be with you guys today.
Great to be with you. And, you know, we've seen some great enhancements here at Big 12 Media Day, and really a sign of just the excitement, the investment that's been made in this league. It's a great time to be a part of the Big 12.
It's a great time, and we continue to want to reimagine what we do and how we do it for our student athletes, our coaches, for the media, and we've taken it up a bar too this year, not only for the men's that you're seeing today, but the women's yesterday. It was a great experience for all the student athletes yesterday and the new coaches. I mean, I've gotten texts all night saying, Brett, elite level. You know, that's how they were describing it, and that's important because despite all the economics around collegiate athletics today, at the core, it's the student athlete, and our goal is to give them an incredible experience, and I think we're doing that right here in Kansas City.
Speaking of incredible experience, you got 7 guys on the men's side that are 5-star players. You and I, and we all know a bunch of them are going to be one-and-done lottery picks. That's got to say something about the league that kids like A.J. DeBanza and Darren Peterson want to come to this league.
It does. You know, we're a destinational league. And in my mind, and, you know, we're the #1 basketball conference in America. And I often tell people we're the second-best league in the country behind the NBA. And it shows, you know, 8 of the top 20 high school basketball players last year are calling a Big 12 team home this year, which speaks to your point. But we also have returning veterans, and we were very successful in the portal. So we have a good balance on our rosters. And by the way, a lot of our teams have tapped into the international marketplace, which more and more of the schools are doing now. So excited about the upcoming season, excited about the balance, the star power. And by the way, I should have said this to start. ESPN does a hell of a job for us. An incredible job with our student athletes, our schools. We love the partnership. This is the first year of a 6-year new partnership. So excited to be working together for the next 6 years.
You mentioned the best basketball league, and there's statistics that can support that. The highest winning percentage in last year's NCAA tournament. Right. 5 out of the last 7 Final Fours have had at least one Big 12 team in it, including 4 different schools. So it hasn't just been one program. Why is this conference in basketball such a perfect marriage, and why is it so important to you?
Well, I'm a basketball guy, you know, at the heart of it. I was the CEO of the Brooklyn Nets for 16 years. I've learned to love football, and I understand that football drives the ecosystem, but at the heart of this conference, it has been basketball, because we've been competing at the highest levels for such a long period of time. I also feel that realignment made us stronger. You know, if you think about this conference, 8 of our schools were integrated in the last 2 years. Think about BYU, think about Houston, Arizona, top-ranked teams that made a great conference even better. So it's just an exciting time, you know, to be in the conference right now. When it comes to men's basketball, I mean, we're really catching our stride right now.
I love the integration of some of those great programs. And Houston obviously has proven how good a program they are. As the commissioner, and you've had to deal with a lot on your watch since you've gotten here, how do you integrate not just the athletic departments, but the basketball programs, because as you've said oftentimes, this is the premier basketball league in the country.
You know, it's not easy, you know, when you think about integrating 8 new schools, and you know, because there's the culture fit. You know, there's you know, the learning curve. You know, we do things a little differently here. Some of the schools came in from conferences that were not Power 4, you know, so they weren't as well resourced initially. You know, so they're making more investments. So it's taking a little time to get everyone on the same page. But I'm excited about where we've landed after 2 years. I think we have great alignment across the board, starting with our board, the presidents of our schools, the ADs, the coaches have all integrated. They're doing a great job. They're rooting for each other when they're not playing each other, obviously. And I think it's made us that much stronger. But it took us a little time to get our footing, having gone through realignment as much as we did. I'm expecting big things this year. I mean, you think about 6 of the top 25 are Big 12 schools, and then that doesn't even include Baylor. Yeah. So it really shows you the depth of this conference this year.
10 states, 4 time zones, 16 strong, as you say. And we got a bunch of Big 12 teams playing in New York City as well. What about the connection between the Big 12 and the Big Apple?
New York City is important to me. It's a great recruiting market. It's a great market for enrollment when you think about our member institutions. So we're expanding our footprint there. We're going to be in the Big Apple. Big 12 in the Big Apple has a great ring to it. Kicks off with Duke in Kansas at MSG, one of the greatest venues in the world. So we're going to make the most of it. We'll have a social media campaign around it. We'll work with many of our media partners to elevate our moments there. We're playing in many of the venues there beyond just MSG. So I'm excited that we're participating in some great high-profile moments in New York and bringing our brand there. Critically important to the conference.
There are 3 freshmen in college basketball that stands out, 1 in the ACC and 2 that are in this conference. He mentioned Darren and AJ already. How important is it to have the focus on those freshmen and the skill set that they have, knowing that there's a very short window they'll be playing college basketball, but to be representing programs in this conference and bring even more attention to this conference overall?
I think we have great star power across the board, and a big part of that star power are the freshmen, you know, that are calling the Big 12 home this year. And AJ and Peterson, you know, who knows where they go in the draft? 1, 2. Most people predict, and we're going to leverage that star power to the extent that we can. I'm sure our media partners will do the same, and we're just excited that they're here as long as they are. Whether it's if they're one and done, okay, but we want them to have a great experience being the Big 12. They're going to battle night in and night out. They're going to be growing pains. This is a big-time conference, but really excited that they voted yes for the Big 12, and I think it's indicative of who we are as a conference.
Saturday, January 31st in Provo, Kansas, BYU.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Boy, that's going to be a great one. That's going to be a great one.
He's already got his plane ticket booked.
I might
Even if
show
he's
up
calling,
there
not
with
calling
you.
the game.
The Rock will be rocking that night. There's no doubt about it.
That'll be good. Thanks for having us. This is great.
No, thank you for having me, and appreciate all your support throughout the year.
Commissioner Brett Yormark of the Big 12. This conference bigger and better than ever. T-Mobile Center. We'll talk to the reigning champs coming up. Program record 35 wins a season ago. 7th Final Four in program history. Regular season and Big 12 tournament champs. Kelvin Sampson, head coach of the Houston Cougars, joining us here. The Big 12 Media Days presented by New Era. You see those images, Coach. Thanks for being with us. What kind of goes through your mind as you think about last season and how special that was?
That's good to be here with you guys. Every team you coach has a journey. It starts. First thing that I think about was in the month of November, we were 4-3. And then, we kind of found ourselves just by hanging in there, coming in every day with the right attitude, working. Milos Uzan's ability to be where his feet were. I think he was all over the place when he got there. But the leadership, Jaylen Roberts, L.J. Cryer, Javier Francis, I think was the backbone of that team. Very much a player-led team, which is what most programs are, the great ones at least.
We're talking about with the commissioner, some of the best freshmen in the country are in this league this year. You got 3 of them. Why did they choose Houston when they were recruited by the entire country?
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of knew what they were getting into, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think you have to give a lot of credit to their mothers and fathers. I don't think that we try to be somebody we're not. We are who we are. If you like us, you like us. If you don't, you don't. I'm fine either way with it. But when we recruited Kingston, Isaiah, and Chris, I told them, come watch practice, and then you decide. And then don't ask me any more questions. Ask the players. That's going to be your teammates. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you my truth, but you're going to be their teammates. Ask them what our staff is like, what I'm like, what days off are like, what's our worst day? What does that look like? I said, figure out things that's going to be important to you, and then make your decision.
Coach, you've got 9 players back that suited up for a national championship game, but as Fran was just talking about, very talented group of freshmen. Freshmen don't usually get out on the court early and are players that you have to rely on. This year, you're going to have to rely on those guys to add depth to some of your returners. What's that process been like trying to get them up to speed on the Houston way?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sean, because as soon as the season ends, you have your memories and whatever your feelings are of the season that just passed. But you're not quite ready to put a period on it yet. You still have a comma there. But I think the period comes in June when they get there on campus to start summer school and watch them with their growth. So what I did was called in JoJo Tugler, Ramon Walker, Milos, and Emmanuel. And I said, you guys are responsible for them this summer. I said, you coach them. I think about the guys that you came in with and how they coached you. Yeah. If our standards and our culture is going to go forward, it's going to be because of you guys, not me. So I give a lot of credit to our players. They've done an awesome job with Chris, Kingston, Isaiah, and Bryce Jackson. I mean, Bryce Jackson is going to be, I think, a terrific player for us eventually. But just watching their growth, we had some inter-squad scrimmages. We scrimmaged Chris's team on Saturday. I played them probably more minutes than I normally would because they need it. Yeah. They need to go through the failures and figure out how to help the other players. Freshmen sometimes think of themselves in an isolated world on a boat by themselves. I said, fellas, our boat is your boat. Your boat is our boat. You've got to make us better too. So that process, it will continue until it doesn't. They've got to get their butts kicked, and then they got to get comfortable. Then eventually they'll start kicking somebody else's butt.
I've always used the term with your program, culture warriors.
Yes.
You go back to Galen Robinson, your first point guard, and some of those other young guys that were with you at the beginning when you were playing in Hofheinz. I don't want to bring back a bad memory, but but when I think of Culture Warriors, the 4 veterans, all in their own way, embody Houston Cougar basketball. Manuel Sharp nationally doesn't maybe get the attention that a JoJo's starting to get, or some of the other guys in the past. He's been with you 5 years. What's he mean to the culture of the? You don't like that word. What's he mean to Houston basketball?
Yeah. At some point, a coach has to trust the young man, not the player, the young man. You got to know what his soul is, what his fiber is, what he stands for. If you don't stand for anything in your life, how can you stand for something in a group setting? So, Emmanuel, the thing I've always loved about him, he's always been hungry. He's when he didn't have a senior in high school because he had that traumatic injury, and it was just gruesome what he went through. So he came in at semester, redshirted that year. Then the next year, I think he was our 6th man, first guard off the bench. And then once he got in the starting lineup, Emmanuel can play with any lineup. He can, because he can rebound his position, and he can go defend the other team's best player. If you looked at our road games last year, or even tournament games, all the way from Gonzaga, Purdue, Tennessee, Duke, Florida, all those games. The thing that stood out was everybody talks about JoJo as a defensive player of the year. Well, that's because he makes the plays you see. The plays that nobody sees is what Emmanuel does. He didn't get beat off the bounce. He allows us to stay out of foul trouble because he doesn't get beat. Guys are always getting beat, give up corner threes and fouls at the rim.
Shot.
Yeah. JoJo's so good because we got some guys that couldn't guard me in a phone booth. But now Emmanuel, you're not going to get very many block shots on him because he can guard the ball.
And don't underestimate your lateral quickness, Coach. I've seen it.
I had no lateral quickness when I was quick.
Well, Emmanuel Sharp was the MOP of the Big 12 Tournament Midwest Regional as well, and he is standing by with the fourth member of our crew, Chancellor Johnson. Chancellor.
Putting the sharpshooter Emmanuel Sharp, the preseason All-Big 12 team and one of the leaders of the reigning back-to-back Big 12 champs in the Houston Cougars. We were talking off air about how you had to wake up this morning at 4:30.
Yep.
Had practice, then hopped on a plane.
Yep.
What did Kelvin have y'all doing this morning?
Getting after it, competing. It's the same thing we do every day. But it comes with being in this program. That's what we're here for. Is to get after it every day and compete. And that's what we did this morning for sure.
The last time we saw you and this program was in the national championship game where you guys came up short. What have the past 6 months been like for yourself as you recognize you were right there, but you also understand you have a real opportunity to potentially do it again?
Yeah, it was, kind of sour, knowing we wanted to, finish off the season the right way. But, it's basketball. You're not always going to end it the right way, but, it's a lesson. We're taking what we learned from last year and we're going to try to apply it this year and get better.
Speaking of lessons, your coach, we just heard from Kelvin Sampson, gives plenty of life ones. You've been to war with him for some years now. What does he mean to you as a player?
A lot. Like it's way more than just a basketball coach. He's a mentor. I've learned so much, not about basketball, but just about life. Because I feel like it coincides. Everything he teaches on the court applies to all areas of life. Competing, showing up every day with the right attitude, the right effort. That's not just basketball. That's everything. Your job, your work, family. You show up every day. And, he preaches that to all of us. And, I've tried to do my best as to, take that in and apply it to my life since I was a freshman.
Speaking of freshmen, you're one of the elder statesmen on this team who features, a number of freshmen that you guys will be relying on. Yeah. What was a moment in practice where you thought to yourself, okay, these guys, they're going to be pretty good?
Since the beginning, since we started getting after it in 4-on-4, I remember it was the day Kingston was killing everybody, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna be an important piece for us this year. But it's the same for all the freshmen. They're advanced. They've got great attitudes, and they want to get better. That's the thing. Some people just go out there and play, but they actually have a drive to get better and improve, and that's what we need.
Now, I was joking with you last week when I saw you that you're getting old, man. You're senior now. Yeah. For you, when you look back on it, what's the biggest difference from freshman year Emmanuel Sharp to the man who's sitting with me right now?
I think just being more experienced. I feel like coming in as a freshman, you just kind of trying to survive. Within the defense, offense. It's new. It's a faster pace. More physicality. So, when I first got here, just trying to find any way that I can, help the team. But now it's about, leading. I'm more experienced. I got to, bring up the guys around me. I got to help others. Whereas when I was a freshman, I'm the one being helped. I'm asking questions. But, now I'm in other people's ears. I'm leading the freshmen, giving them pointers, advice. But, I'm used to it. So it's great.
Looking forward to covering you throughout the year. Thanks for your time, Emmanuel.
No problem. Thank you.
Matt?
Thanks, Chancellor. Thanks, Emmanuel, for the time. Again, the Houston Cougars, 35 wins a season ago, and you think about what they have coming back, the great freshmen that they have coming in. Would not be surprising at all to see them in the same game as last season.
I think, Sean, they may be more talented on paper than a team that had, L.J. Cryer, Juwan Roberts. They're more talented. They're not as experienced as that team, but, the guy next to me knows that Kelvin Sampson, because he's done it so many times, when you replace guys, there's usually guys that come in, and he's done that for 23 years now, by the way. It's good to see you. You look great.
Coach is taking your job and quite a segue. See you guys.
Hey, you guys. See you guys later. Okay. Good talking.
You look like you've been working out this morning.
This morning.
You look great.
Well, thanks. You know what that really means is that I look like crap up until whatever. So how's everybody?
Doing great. Doing great. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm re-energized. I've gone through my health scare, so to speak, and got a knot put on my head, and I think I've responded pretty well.
You didn't get your quickness back because you never had any.
No. I was. You know what? I would have never recruited me ever in any situation. But yeah, no quickness. But as long as the mind's still sharp, that's most important.
Well, you talk about recruiting. You got a pretty good one this year. Darren Peterson, he's special, Coach. I've been in practice. Coach has been in practice. We've watched him up close and personal already in your roster. To you, what stands out most early in his time with the Jayhawks?
I would say, to me, is the maturity he has as an 18-year-old. The thing about it is with youngsters, the longer you play the game, the slower the game becomes. And many young kids, the game's in fast forward, and you guys know. And as you get older, the game becomes slow motion, and you're able to see everything and not be rushed. He's at that phase. Now, granted, he'll have his moments, but he's at that phase where the game's ridiculously slow compared to other guys his age. And to me, that's the biggest difference, that he sees it and he feels it.
These guys like to talk about how they saw him in practice and let everyone know. I was covering him at Prolific Prep, guys. I mean, I watched him in high school.
We know you're a big deal. You and Paul B.
Just let us. I was texting with Paul this morning. He talked about how he could actually be a very surprised defender as well. He gets a lot of love for that scoring, but he can get after it.
You know what? I think he can be whatever the situation calls him to be. Mm-hmm. Could he be our best defender? He could. Could he be our best shot blocker? Absolutely. Could he be our best quick hands guy?
Yeah.
Could be. Mm-hmm. Could he be your best scorer, your best shooter, your best handler, the best off ball screens? Could be. He's got a lot. Now, granted, everything that he does well now, he can still get better at doing them all. So I'm not trying to paint a picture that he's arrived by any stretch. But he's as advanced in all those areas as anybody I've ever been around.
I want you to know I'm in midseason form. Here comes the lob. Here comes the lob.
Yeah. But to scout us, all you got to do is watch one of your broadcasts.
Well, no, I've stopped calling.
This is when he starts calling the plays.
No, I've stopped that.
Hey, this is what they're going to do.
I've stopped that. But there is a guy that catches lobs, Flory Badunga. And when I was there about a month ago, there seems to be a big step up.
Flory is he's had a great offseason. He's probably the most improved player in all areas, and people will think about him from a scoring standpoint. And you know as well as I do, Fran, he can score, but he needs to score certain ways. And we probably didn't take it as much advantage of that as what we hope to this year. So I mean, he's still got a lot of things he's got to work on and improve on, but his knowledge and how he sees the game, I think it really helped him playing with Hunter last year and playing behind him, because he saw what a good passing big can mean to a team. And even though he's not Hunter yet, he's becoming more and more of that, which allows the floor to be spread.
Coach, to maximize this team's abilities on the court, what are some of the keys, do you think, for this year's team to excel to the level in which we've become accustomed to watching your program?
I actually think, it's coach speak, but are we tough enough to win the 50-50 battles? We're explosive enough, we're quick enough that we can make plays you can't coach, which I don't think we were great at that last year. Our quick twitch, our second jump, our instinctive ability, I think, is better in chasing the ball down and doing some different things. But it's still going to come down to, you mentioned Houston. I don't know if people realize this. They lost some guys. They got the same guy coaching them.
Yeah.
So they're going to play with that reckless abandon regardless, and you got to be a man to compete with them inside of 15 feet of the basket. Can we get to that point? And then the other thing is, can we shoot it consistently enough? Because I think that we got a player that we can kind of showcase, and whether or not that means him scoring or whether that means him drawing attention, now everybody else has to be able to score.
16 regular season conference champions. Bill Self trying to get them back to the top of the league. Thanks for being with us.
You bet.
One of those players hoping to do that is one of the phenoms, perhaps a lottery pick 9 months from now. It's Darren Peterson with Chancellor.
One of the many freshman phenoms in the Big 12, Darren Peterson. It's easy for people to see the accolades, the hype, the projection. But if there's one thing you want people to know about who Darren Peterson is, what would that be?
At the end of the day, I'm just an 18-year-old kid that's playing the game he loves. And I've been doing it my whole life, and I'm just blessed to get this opportunity. I'm super excited.
Yeah. What excites you about joining the Kansas Jayhawks?
Something that excites me the most, probably just playing in the field house, really. I've been to a game, see how electric it is in there, and I'm just excited to put on a show.
Yeah. It's in order to get to this level, it takes a certain amount of hard work. So over the offseason, I want to go into that.
Yeah.
What's something that you did from the moment you walked into the gym to the time that you left, as far as putting in the work when you to do that? What was something you did over the offseason, workout-wise?
From the moment I step in, I'm getting locked in already. I start off just like some stretch, movement, dynamic stuff. Then start touch, handle, making sure I'm feeling the ball, feeling good. Then just like form shots, and then I start my workout, whatever that consists of that day. And I'm going 110% in the workout. So.
You now join a long list of talented players to put on a Kansas Jayhawks jersey. What's so special about joining this fraternity of brothers?
Like you said, there's a long list of special players, and just to be able to put on a Kansas uniform is everything for me and my family. I work super hard, and I'm just blessed to be here.
Bill Self, he's been a legend in the game for a long time. Now that you've had a couple of months to learn from him, what goes inside that basketball mind of his that makes him so successful?
He wants 110 every rep every day, and I think that's something that I got to get better at as well. Every rep matters, every set matters, because those can win games, and he's definitely built that into my mind so far.
Absolutely. Now, with the hype comes some expectations.
Yeah.
Why are you built to meet those?
I work my butt off, like you said, with the off-season stuff. I just work super hard, and this is just a part of it. The expectations and the pressure comes with it.
Absolutely. Darren, thanks for your time.
Appreciate you.
Now, coming up after the break, we will be joined by the Colorado Buffs. But first, Matt.
Go to the Buffs next. We got a very important person to discuss. By the way, I did say Darren Peterson, perhaps a lottery pick. Again, I'm trying to just massage it a little bit. It's funny to hear Bill Self.
Perhaps?
Yeah, maybe the number one overall pick. Brian Thornton, Vice President of Basketball here for the Big 12. And that just leads to the talk of the star power that is in this league. It's bigger and better than ever, probably the best way to describe it, but the freshmen, McDonald's All-Americans and potential lottery picks in this league, certainly adding to that.
It's awesome. You know, you talk about AJ, you talk about Darian, but it doesn't stop there. You know, we have 6 of the top 10 freshmen in the entire country, which is exciting. You know, it kind of is a little bit of throwback to the times of the one and dones, and it's a different world that we live in now. These guys are making significant money and whatnot, but they still want to be here. They still want to be coached. They still want to play, and we're really excited about the freshmen we have this year.
You know, it's a new world order because you not only have transfers, freshmen, you got kids internationally. That used to be my bailiwick, and now everybody knows about international players. But it's got to be exciting that the league is kind of selling itself in basketball.
It is. I mean, we view ourselves as the preeminent league in the entire country. And, you know, you talk about international, we're doing it in all different ways. You know, we have a variety of teams, a variety of styles, and each team is figuring out the best way to put the best product on the floor. It might be international. Some teams are really leaning into that and recruiting heavily overseas. Some people are leaning in with the freshmen because that still matters. And then some people are doing it through the transfer portal or a combination of all three. So it's exciting to see some of the returners that we have, you know, to have a returning Big 12 Player of the Year like JT Toppin. You don't see that. But now you have some of those situations as well to go along with it.
Brian, the conference, obviously basketball is super important. Brett Yermark was up here and talking about how important it was, and it is. What is your role? Describe your role to people like in making sure that this thing continues to be on the path that it's on.
Well, it's all things men's basketball. You know, you talk about scheduling, you talk about coaches' relationships, promotion, working with our TV partners. You know, the fact that, you know, I'm sure Commissioner Yormark talked about it, but the fact that we have 5 committed TV partners is unprecedented. So continuing to work with them, the scheduling process, which, as you can imagine, is very interesting, but one that we're excited about. We think we landed in a great spot, but I'm just really fortunate and thankful to be in a place where we have an opportunity to think creatively, think outside the box, and continue to try to be a different league.
It's got to be fun to see a Houston and Arizona, BYU. I'm from the old school, 10 teams in the Big 12. You were coming in as things were changing.
Right.
But it's got to be fun knowing that, like we were talking about BYU, Kansas, or Kansas in Arizona, or Houston in Arizona. The footprint of the league is spreading across the country.
It is. I mean, we're a national brand. We're a national conference. You know, we talk about being in 10 states, 4 time zones. That's something that we really lean into, being 16 strong. You know, one of the stats that I think about is we were the only conference in the country last year where all 16 of our teams beat a top 25 team in the country. I think that speaks to the depth of our league. You know, you talk about some of the schools that you mentioned at the top, but there's not one team in our league that's not more than capable of having great success. Some of the teams that, you know, maybe weren't towards the top last year, I think that they're in position to really make a run this year and surprise some folks. And, you know, I think we could have some different teams in the NCAA tournament than maybe we have in the years recently.
And to your point, 3 teams in the top 10 in the AP preseason poll. That's the most of any conference in the country. You're tied for the most teams overall, ranked in the top 25. When you talk about depth in this league, why is the depth as important as the top of the conference from your perspective?
Well, every game matters, right? You know, and, you know, quite frankly, that was something that the SEC capitalized on last year was the depth. And we had great teams. You know, the fact that we had Houston losing the national championship, we were a whisker away from having multiple teams in the Final Four and those types of things. But the more depth that we can have across the board sets us up to have, you know, 7, 8, 9 teams in the NCAA tournament this year. And those teams really have an opportunity to be successful and an opportunity to advance once they get there.
And maybe more teams in the tournament once we expand this thing. We're talking about expanding it from 68 to 76. What would that mean to the Big 12?
I think it's more opportunities. You know, we certainly have to do it in a strategic way that makes sense. You know, we've talked about the economics have to make sense, but, you know, when you think about some of the schools that we have that have been right on the cusp, you think about a West Virginia last year that probably should have been in the NCAA tournament. They're for sure in the NCAA tournament in an expanded field. So we're going to have a lot of those teams that seem to be right there, and that's just more opportunities for our programs that are all really investing in their product, and more opportunities for our student athletes to play on that stage. I mean, you guys know what the NCAA tournament means.
You know, I haven't seen all 16 teams yet, but I have seen a few that you mentioned surprises, because we know there's 6 in the top 25. But Oklahoma State and Cincinnati are 2 teams that I think are going to be some of those sneaky good, potentially NCAA tournament teams.
You mentioned the top 6 that everybody seems to talk about right now. Those are all teams that, if it ended today, would all be top 5 or 6 seeds in the NCAA tournament. But it certainly goes beyond that, and it goes beyond the depth that we've discussed, where you have an Oklahoma State that maybe wasn't a great program last year, but Steve Letts is doing a fantastic job. He's recruited well. He's brought in some guys. You think about what Wes Miller is building at Cincinnati, really turning that program around in this year with some of his transfers, international, Mustafa Tom, et cetera, et cetera. So, there's going to be a group of programs. Baylor, they don't have anybody on their team from last year. But again, we know how good of a coach Scott Drew is, and we all fully expect them to be right there when NCAA tournament time comes.
How important is that? Because we talk about some of these programs that Fran has just mentioned. It's about making the hire, but it's also getting the right hire. Utah, obviously, bringing Alex Jensen. There's another guy that's coming in with NBA experience that also played there. How important is it making sure that these schools are making the right hires to continue the momentum and build forward their programs?
Fit matters.
Yeah.
And like we said, in the world that we're currently in, every school has to do it a little bit differently. Utah bringing Alex Jensen, bringing in a homegrown guy who has NBA experience, that fits what they're trying to build. Ross Hodge going to West Virginia, he knows how to build a program, because those programs maybe don't have some of the shiny toys that others do, but they certainly have enough to compete and to win at this level. So you have to find the coach that makes sense for who you are, and then allow that coach time to build it out in the right way.
Ryan, thanks for being with us. It's a great time to be in the Big 12. I know you can attest to that. Looking forward to a great year.
Appreciate you guys.
Ryan Thornton, the vice president of men's basketball here in the Big 12. Tad Boyle has been around Colorado for a while. How many more years for Tad at Colorado? Well, he's looking for better, bigger, and better next season. Next. Big 12 basketball media days in Kansas City, T-Mobile Center. Jimmy Dykes.
What is he doing here?
He's using Willie as a coaster?
Willie did a lot of push-ups in the offseason.
It certainly did.
Not as many as TJ Otzelberger.
That's true.
Tad Boyle probably got a workout in this morning. That's just a segue we're trying to do.
I got a workout in this summer.
There it is. Head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, more than 300 wins at CU. Clearly, and last year didn't go as you would have hoped. How does last season impact your approach to this season?
I think it just gives us incentive, not to repeat as a cellar dweller. It's not where we're used to being or want to be. But hey, reality sometimes is a hard thing to face. So try not to talk a lot about last year, but sometimes it comes up in the course of conversation with your team.
Yeah, and
depending on how we're doing.
You did win 2 Big 12 tournament games.
We did. Yeah, no, I was really proud of the way we finished last year. There's no doubt about it. But it's a new look team. We got 10 new players, guys, and a lot of talent. We retained, the name of the game now is retaining the key pieces to your team. And we retained 4 really, really good players that I'm excited about and added a bunch of new talent.
We were talking about you're kind of under the radar simply because I've seen your team. I'm a Colorado native now, or resident, I guess.
Resident.
You're
That's
not
right.
a native.
That's
coach.
right.
Native.
New Yorker's not going to like the fact that you're calling yourself a native Coloradian.
Native. But I do have a Colorado driver's license.
Absolutely.
You got a good front line.
We do.
Bengot, the gentleman we're going to talk to, Sebastian Ranchik.
Right.
And Elijah Malone has gotten in great shape. How does it help having those guys kind of tutor the young guys?
Helps a lot because, that front line's important. But as you know, guard play is as well.
Yeah.
And so to have those guys, and Felix Casares had a really good summer as well, big, strong wing for us. So those 4 guys helping the young guys and understanding, what it's going to take to win in this league. Is invaluable.
You talk about the young guys, and we've referenced the young guys a couple of times. In this era of just recruiting transfers and get old, stay old, you've basically said, nah, we're good. We're going to go the other way. Philosophically, why is that the route that you're going to go after freshmen, talented freshmen, and try to get them to grow in your program?
Number one, it's how we've had success. I know it's a new era. I get that, but it's how we've had success. And the challenge for us is going to be the retention piece because that's, if you get good young freshmen and you see them grow and develop like the KJ Simpsons and the Tristan Da Silvas and, the Spencer Dinwiddie's, the guys, the names go on since we've been at Colorado. I just think it's the best way to go. Secondly, it's the most economical way to go. Yeah. And so I think sometimes people say, well, you're doing it philosophically. Sometimes, finances dictate a lot of things in today's world. And roster makeup is that comes into play as well.
Let's talk about some of those freshmen. I really have enjoyed watching a young man I think is going to be another great guard from L.A., Isaiah Johnson.
Yeah.
Played great in Australia.
He did.
Josiah Sanders is a local kid who almost made, if he didn't make the under-19 team, he sure played well.
Yep.
And but talk about Inman from Houston, the young man from New Mexico.
Yeah.
Talk about that young group.
A really good young group. Isaiah Johnson's been really a pleasant surprise. You never know when you recruit guys. You know this, Fran, how they're going to acclimate, how quickly they're going to acclimate. But that kid's got some toughness to him. He's kind of got a baby face, but he doesn't play a baby game. I mean, he's not afraid of contact. Jalen Holland is really getting better and better. The kid from Albuquerque, going to be a terrific player. You mentioned Josiah Sanders. He's really, really good as well. Ian Inman's our best shooter from Houston. Mm-hmm. And then we got a guy late, a big kid, Alon Mikheli, that is from Israel, yeah. That is going to be a special player. Everything's kind of been thrown at him. He had no summer to acclimate. He didn't get here till the fall. So really good young group of players.
I think, you don't talk about last season. I'll talk about 2 seasons ago. You had 3 guys drafted in the first round of the NBA draft. I mean, pretty remarkable, the program that you've built in Colorado. I've been impressed every year about maximizing your team's potential. And maybe that's hard to look at after last season. But why have you been so successful? The winningest coach in all time in Colorado basketball history, the program that you've been able to build, whether it was in the Pac-12 to now the Big 12, and being able to consistently be a thorn in people's side and get into postseason runs?
Yeah, I think, Sean, look, it's about development. You talk about development of players through the years. To me, you got to develop your team through the season. And one of the things I'm probably most proud about at Colorado is just the success we've had in the conference tournaments, whether it's, the Big 12 when we were here, we got to the semifinals, lost to Kansas in this building. Then 13 years in the Pac-12, we had some success, a lot of success in the Pac-12 tournament. And then, last year we won 2 games in this tournament. So to me, it's about how do you play your best basketball in late February, March. And we've been able to do that. We did that last year, even though we weren't maybe as talented as some of our previous teams. I expect to do the same thing this year.
You know what I forget, though, is he's not wearing any of the Shanghai suits that he got when we were in Shanghai together.
I don't fit into them anymore. So. I'm not sure I fit into them when they made them.
The CU logo is still looking good after all these years. Ted, thanks for doing
Absolutely. Thank you. Go Buffs.
Again, we talk about the returners and the retention. Chancellor with one of the key players for the Buffs.
Yes, I am here with Sebastian Ranchik, also goes by Sebi. I don't want to date your head coach in Tad Boyle, but we both know he's been doing it for a long time. 16 years at the helm. From your time knowing him, what has he meant to this Buffs program?
I mean, definitely, I think he's the face. He is the program. Just with his mentality and his experience, what he brings to the program is amazing. He's an amazing coach. And it's not just him, it's the staff in general. They've been together for a while, so they mean everything to the school and to the program.
Nice. After some speculation that he could retire, what excites you about being able to play for him once again?
I don't know, just kind of changed the narrative from last year. I mean, obviously, last year we had a disappointing year for us and the fans. So just kind of make sure that we have a great year and, just see what the future holds.
We were talking off camera, and you told me you put on some weight over the offseason, and you'll need it because you'll be shouldering a bigger role this year. What did you do over this offseason to prepare for an expanded load?
I've been working a lot on my off the dribble, especially to be able to score off the dribble more since the ball will be in my hands a lot more than last year. So just to be able to score efficiently from all 3 levels, and then reading the secondary defender and just getting stronger so I can guard inside out.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate your time. Look forward to covering the Colorado Buffs all year long. Now, coming up after the break, the West Virginia Mountaineers join the program.
T-Mobile Center, as always, site of Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day. A couple of new coaches to meet and introduce you to the Big 12 landscape. Ross Hodge in his first season at West Virginia, coming over from North Texas after a couple of years there. Why was the West Virginia job? What did you see in it that made you say, yep, that's for me?
Yeah, just starting with just the history and the tradition. Obviously probably the most recognizable figure in basketball is the NBA logo and Jerry West, and then just kind of, being a fan myself growing up during that time period with, watching Coach Beilein's teams, and Pitt Snoggle really was like a revolutionary time period. If you think about it now, stretch five men are everywhere, but during that time period, he really was one of the first. And then, what Coach Huggins did there, and just the tradition, the administration, the alignment, and then the people of West Virginia, people that I think I relate to, and the way that we play and our style of play is something that they can appreciate, and a great home court advantage, one of the best in the country. And you add that all together, I think you can have a recipe for success.
When you're coaching at North Texas, you can go into that little Rudy's barbecue in Denton, and probably some people know you. But what's it like? You really are the face of the state. You Coach Rodriguez in football, but what's it like for you knowing that you're kind of the pro team in the state of West Virginia?
Yeah, that's probably when people ask, the changes and the differences. Basketball is basketball. Great players, great coaches in this league, great venues. But, you go from a relatively level of anonymity into like what you were mentioning. But and you told me this, Coach, like the people there really are incredible people, and they're loyal, they're hardworking, blue-collar people. They love the Mountaineers. They love West Virginia, and so they've been extremely welcoming to myself and my family really from the moment that we've got there. And they're just they're passionate, they're loyal, and they're really hungry for West Virginia basketball to get back to where it's been.
Now let's talk about the roster. A lot of new faces. You got a ton of freshmen, you got a ton of transfers, but two of those transfers actually played for you at North Texas. How significant was it to have those two follow you, to also be the voice in the locker room from within about how you do things and how they've got to understand the system and what you're asking of them?
Yeah, it's really everything. And if you can have 3 or 4 or 5 guys back in this kind of landscape of college basketball, it feels like you got your whole team back. But to bring 2 guys that played a ton of minutes, your point guard, Jasper Flord, who has some of the best intangibles of anybody I've ever been around. And then, Brendan Lorient was a first-team All-League player in the American and continued to get better. And, so, being able to bring those guys with you and just help communicate to the rest of the people what's expected is huge. And then if you look at the rest of our roster, what we really tried to do was kind of identify people that had maybe been part of winning programs and understand what winning is. And now you're just trying to assimilate the group and try to figure out how we're going to win together. But you're not having to teach them how to win.
Yeah. One of the great things about the portal is getting mid-major guys the opportunity to elevate their game and shine on the big stage. Grayson Eaglestaff is a guy, 51 in a Summit League game, only Division I player with 2 40-point games last season. What do we expect from him this year?
Yeah, he's got great positional size. He can make shots. The ball comes out of his hands, very easy, and he can really get on some impressive rolls. And to his credit, he's really tried to commit himself this offseason to, working on his body and becoming a better defender, and trying to impact the games in other ways than just making shots.
Speaking of winners, you got a guy that you knew from playing in the NIT last year. And this young man, who we're going to hear from shortly, he made the most threes of any player in the country last year at 5'10". Hunter Huff, he's from Brooklyn. I love him. I'm a native of Brooklyn.
There you go. That's correct.
Want you to know.
You're not a native of Colorado.
Just want you to know I'm a native of Brooklyn. And little Birdie told me he's gotten off to a good start for you. But more importantly, what's it mean to bring a kid in who's that prolific but also has winning DNA?
Yeah, it's everything, and Honor does it every day in practice. So it's not a surprise when you see him go out there and make 7, 8 threes in a game.
He's an incredible hard worker. He's got an infectious personality, which you guys will see here in a second. And he's selfless, you know, and he's experienced winning and winning at the highest level, winning an NIT championship last year and made some really big shots along the way in that. So he's just another guy that you don't have to teach how to win. We're just having to learn how we're going to win together. But he's been awesome, and people are going to love watching him play.
We got to get you on McAfee show.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got to get that. I mean, we got to get that
That's
done.
right.
It's all in the family. We can get that done. I mean,
Pat, let's do it. West Virginia.
Let's do it.
Make it happen.
Maybe a professional wrestling appearance. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Ross, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Connor Huff. We're going to hear from him right now. 131 threes last season, NIT championship with Chancellor.
It is an honor to be here with Honor, who looks like he just hopped straight out of the chair. Thanks for joining us. There are 5,000 Division I players, yet last year nobody made more threes than you. How would you describe the work ethic that goes into that statistic?
I mean, it's been there since I was a kid. I mean, I've always shot the ball at a pretty high rate growing up. So just putting that and bringing that all to fruition now, it's just a credit to my teammates and coaches last year of putting me in the right positions to make that happen. And obviously, again, attributed to the hard work that I've put in and day out to get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of new faces on this team, from yourself to even your head coach. How would you describe what it's been like to embark on the journey of returning this Mountaineer program to potentially make deep runs in March?
I think it just starts from the top with Coach Hodge. I think the way he recruited and how he recruited really sets this team up for success. You know, he's very particular with how he does things in practice, you know, again, with the recruiting trail. So I think just our connectivity and all that comes with it is going to lead us to, you know, some big wins and surprise a lot of people.
Your coach, Ross Hodge, one word to describe him and why?
Gritty. He like... everything he wants us to do is just grit. You got to work for it no matter what. He always says, don't get tired of kicking people's tails. Don't get tired of making shots. Just keep going. Just grit, that grit.
I like that. Now, we were talking off air, and you told me that you were looking to take my job. You have aspirations to potentially do TV one day, so I'm going to let you toss to break as we get ready for Arizona.
Well, you know, everyone who's tuning in thus far, we appreciate it, and we'll be right back after the break with more Big 12 basketball action.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Arizona next. They call it the barbecue capital of the world. It's the basketball capital of the world, at least for this week, and will be throughout the season, especially in March at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, when one team will be cutting down the nets. Tommy Lloyd hoping it's the Arizona Wildcats. 3 Sweet 16s in your first 3 seasons. How have, in this day and age of college sports, and how you have to turn over rosters almost overnight, how have you been able to maintain the consistency?
Well, first off, I appreciate you leaving out the fourth year where we lost to Princeton in the first round. It's actually 3 and 4 years. They're you get to take the good parts of your story. You also got to take the tough parts of your story. It's who you are. It's been great. I'm at a great place. I mean, I'm at a place that I'm proud to represent. I love being a basketball coach at Arizona, and I always tell people, Arizona basketball doesn't represent me. I represent it. It's way bigger than me or way bigger than I'll ever be. And so I'm proud to call the program home, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we got this year and delivering for our fans.
I think you've got a lot, but one thing you do have is it's not often in college basketball where you have a point guard that's going to be with you for 3 years. And in my personal opinion, I've said this to you and others, he may be one of the most underrated players in the country, Jaden Bradley. What's it mean for you and he to have that symbiotic relationship?
Well, listen, JB's somebody I really appreciate and really value. And you're right, he is underrated. And how do you handle that as a head coach?
Yeah.
Do I get out and make all these crazy proclamations and say he's the best point guard in the country and all these things? For sure I could. And it would be sound to say that. But JB's also someone who's not fighting for the spotlight. He wants to do his job. He wants to serve the team. He wants to represent his family, and he does an amazing job at all those. So for me, going into the offseason while we were figuring things out with our roster, I had great peace of mind knowing we had a starting point guard coming back, that is as good as he is, that is as good a person he is, and just being a winner. So I really value JB, and he played great in our exhibition game on Saturday. I mean, you could see his experience kind of shine through. So I think he's primed to have a great year.
Scheduling always important on behalf of all college basketball fans, including 2 guys that get to call games all the time. Thank you. But you start your season against the Gators. You've got 5 teams that were in the NCAA tournament that are in your non-conference schedule. Why is scheduling up so important to help you prepare for this conference?
Well, I don't know if it's scheduling up. I think that's how Arizona should schedule. We view ourselves as one of the premier programs in the country, and I think it's great for the game when programs of our caliber are matching up with other programs, maybe a little bit higher than us, but at the same caliber. I think it's important to do. I think, why would you ever be scared of failure? And you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. It's part of the process. That's what makes college basketball so great. So, and I know this, at Arizona, we're not protecting anything.
Yeah.
We're trying to go out and get everything we can, and so that's the mindset we're going to go in with. And I'm sure there's going to be some ups and downs with it. And you might see me mid-November, and I might have a different opinion. But as of today, I'm really excited about our schedule, and I look forward to the opportunity.
Well, and you get a chance to learn about your freshmen very early on in a schedule like this. I got to watch Koa Pete a handful of times at Perry High School. Just a gold medalist as well. Tons of experience. What does he bring to this team along with Braden Berries?
Well, what it is, they're both mature beyond their years, and not only basketball-wise, but just physically. And they're winners, and they've really come in, and they've been, as advertised, whatever that means. So I really feel good. When everyone else was aggressively shopping the transfer portal, I'm like, I don't think I could get 2 transfers better than these guys. So why even get distracted? So I'm really feel good about those 2 and what they mean for our program. They've been great in practice. I'm sure there's going to be some ups and downs, and there's going to be a learning curve. But the one thing I do know, they're competitors and they're quick learners. And so I think over the course of the year, they're really going to step up and show themselves as premier college basketball players.
Speaking of Koa, let's dive in deeper. You got a chance to coach him on the under-19 gold medal world championship team. Congratulations. What did you learn about him that you maybe didn't know when you were recruiting him for 3 years?
Well, we did know him, really well.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I would say about Koa is just how authentic he is and how genuine. There's no act. He's literally just a great person, crazy high character, but he plays this ferocious style of basketball. So it's a really cool combination, and that's who he is. His care factor is so high, and
it's been really fun. It's been really fun, like, coaching him. The USA experience was great. He and I went into that, and I told Koa, like, hey, Koa, like, listen, I'm probably not going to talk to you as much as you would expect here because, like, out of respect for these other players who are really good and the mission we were on.
Right.
I know we were on the mission to win the gold. I mean, it was kind of a business first approach. But now having him at Arizona on a day-to-day basis, and just being able to, really, help build a team around him has been a lot of fun because he's deserving of everything that comes his way, and I think he's going to be one of the most fun college basketball players to watch this season.
He's going to be part of that front court. You've always had great front courts as an assistant at Gonzaga to what you've been able to build at Arizona. Talk about the front court this year. What excites you most about that group?
They're really good. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is, you got, Tobe Awaka, who's, an experienced player. Obviously, we were fortunate to get him from Tennessee, and he had a really good season for us last year and has just continued to grow as a player. And another guy that's a crazy high-character guy, great student. I mean, any superlative we could put on him. And then Mo Krivas. Mo is somebody, who I was really excited to recruit back in the day, and I thought this kid had a ton of potential. And I know in this day and age, you don't say this lightly with how the game has changed, but it's really hard for a 7-foot-plus guy to be a legitimate NBA player. I think he has a chance. I think there's work to be done, and he's got to go out and prove it on the court on a night-to-night basis. But he just has tremendous potential. He's really come on. I mean, he had to play 32 minutes against St. Mary's, which probably wasn't the best coaching. You know what I mean? It's kind of hadn't played a game forever, but it's what the situation called for. And I think he had 17 rebounds, and that's some area we've really been pushing him on. So, I mean, I think the combination of those three guys is, it's a luxury, and it's something that we hope to take advantage of.
There's two guys that impress me, and maybe they're not ready yet, but I think they will be, is Karchenkov, young man from Germany, and Dwayne Aristode, who was hurt last year, but it seems to me that at some point those guys could be important for you.
Well, they're going to be important from day one. I mean, they're both going to be in our rotation. We're going to probably be one of the few teams that are playing 4 true freshmen and really counting on them. But I feel good about doing it. Like in practices, I haven't felt like, we're too young, we're too inexperienced. I don't feel that because the guys don't play like that. Like, Yvonne and Dwayne are they're both really good players, and they're both really, really talented. They both got good feel for the game. I think they just need a little bit of experience. Dwayne, obviously, you said he sat out last year with a foot injury, so he kind of missed his senior year of high school. Yvonne, probably didn't even know this time last year that he would be playing college basketball. Right. So he comes over from Bayern Munich. There's obviously, and Fran, you and I have both been doing this international thing for a long time. There is a transition period for all these players, no matter how good they are, coming from. And I tell a European player, hey, how do young Americans do when they first come to Europe? They usually struggle. Well, there's an adjustment. And the same thing for European kids. So let's give these kids a little time. But I think at the end of the day, they're really, really going to help us.
Less than 30 seconds left. Bryce James, the youngest of LeBron, and we saw Bronny and his journey there at USC. What is your plan for Bryce here?
Bryce and I have had a lot of conversations figuring out this year. Redshirting is a possibility, and the reason I say that is because I believe in Bryce. And if you didn't believe in somebody, why would you spend extra resources on them or extra time? And Bryce has been great at our place. He's really his body's starting to change. I think the one thing people don't realize about Bryce is he's a year younger than his class. So he should be a senior in high school right now. So just kind of helping him with that transition has been fun. But I'll say this. He's a first-class kid, and growing into a young man, and it's been fun having him on a day-to-day basis. Fun watching him kind of come out of his shell, and and turn into his own man. And my job is to, respect him as a person and help him with his own journey. And that's our plan at Arizona. We got no extras. Let's just help this kid to develop into a great young man, and I think that's what his family wants and what he wants, and we're going to help him with that.
Should be a fun journey to watch for him and the rest of the Cats this year. Tommy, thanks for doing it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Always good to have a point guard that you can hand to in the morning, get it back safe and sound at night. That's Jaden Bradley, who's with some teammates as well.
Yeah, guys, I can't tell if we're in Kansas City or Oklahoma City. We got some Thunder vibes going on right now, joined by members of the Arizona Wildcats. Now, your coach has called you underrated. The Big 12 just released their preseason Big 12 team, and you weren't on it. I want to hear from you guys. What do voters miss about the value he brings on a night-to-night basis?
He's just a steady force, day in, day out. He's the same. He brings a kind of grit and toughness and sort of peace to the team. He's sort of the common force.
Cole, what about you? What have you seen from your leader?
A little time playing with JB, just the way he controls the game. He controls the pace, and just a great leader for us.
So when voters saw what you did last year, 12 points, 4 assists, leading the Arizona Wildcats to a really great year, and they saw that production and said that wasn't good enough, what was your reaction to that?
I try not to, worry about that too much. At the end of the day, my goal as, the leader, one of the leaders of the program is to, find as many wins as we can get. And, it's going to be a tough task, but, I feel like we got the team and we got everything to handle that.
Yeah, you were certainly eligible for the list, and so is your freshman in Koa. I want to take us to Arizona Wildcat practice. You're on the floor with him on the drill, 5-on-5. What was the moment you realized he's as good as advertised?
Me and Koa always, joke around, like, we go at it, say, he can't guard me, I can't guard him. So, we was in a post one time, and I kind of set Tobe up. He spit off me. He tried to duck on Tobe. So I was like, dang, he really strong and athletic. So, I really felt that and, saw that in that moment. So, yeah.
Wilbur, what about you? Is Koa going to be the Big 12 Freshman of the Year? I think that is a yes. Matt, back to you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chancellor, and the cast of thousands over there. Appreciate it. Jay, in Arizona, Sweet 16 from a season ago.
I like the OKC vibes.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. They were a Sweet 16 team. So it was BYU last year in Kevin Young's first season. How would you characterize, Kevin, just the transition, year one to year two? How do you feel going into this season?
Just more comfort, just in terms of knowing what to expect with the league and the coaches and the atmospheres and the officiating and all the things that come with the Big 12. But in some ways, it's more scary because we know it's coming. Last year, we didn't know what we were doing, and so such a hard league, but really excited.
Yeah, I'm going to let him talk about your precocious freshman because he's getting a lot of attention, deservedly so. I love, and you do too, Richie Saunders. What's it mean to you that he's back? And even you told me last year that you thought he could have been ready for the league, and you know the league better than anybody. But what's it mean to you to have Richie Saunders back, and describe him as a player?
Yeah, well, number one, it means the world, honestly, because he's a guy that, the year we had last year was we had to earn our keep. We didn't start out very good, and we had to work super hard every day to get better, and it finally kind of clicked, and he understood and understands what went into that. And so that's been a message, albeit a different team this year, that we try to preach, and he's a guy that knows what we talk about when we're talking about that stuff, not to mention all the nuances of how we want to play. So it's just critical. We've asked him to be a captain this year for obvious reasons. And in terms of his game, I mean, in a person, unbelievable human being, number one, extremely hard worker, and just shoots the cover off the ball. He's had an unbelievable preseason and practice. He's been really, really good. And, the key with him, along with the rest of our guys, is how quickly can they all figure each other out, right? And we've had some injuries in the preseason that's kind of derailed that a little bit, so we're trying to fast-track the best we can.
Coach mentioned AJ, obviously a special talent, a guy that could be very easily the number one pick in the June NBA draft. You've been in the league. You've been around some of the greatest players to ever play this game. How does that experience help you lead him on this journey over the next 8 months?
Well, I mean, for one, it gives us a starting point in terms of that's where he wants to get to. Obviously, I've been there, and so I think there's just a mutual respect that we have because of that. And so the thing that AJ does a great job of is he's extremely coachable, and he does what we ask him to do. And he's different than a lot of young guys because most young guys, it reminds me of my kids. I have to tell them to take the trash out 10 different times. With AJ, you tell him something one time and he's going to do it, right? And so that I think it shows a sign of maturity for him. He really wants to do what we ask, and so that's something that we love coaching him, and I think that separates him in a lot of ways.
Rob Wright had a terrific freshman year in the league. You knew about him. What is an area that you feel that you can help him with because he's still a developing, really talented young guy?
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about just paint decision-making for him. He's so quick. It's a blessing and a curse because he can get wherever he wants. And so now it becomes, can I read the second layer of defense and oftentimes the third layer because he gets all the way to the basket. And so, trying to streamline his efficiency, that's something we talk about with all of our players, but particularly our guys that get the ball to the painted area. Are they making the right decision, not just throwing something up? And because then that impacts, Richie's getting kickouts or AJ's getting kickouts. We want to create as many closeouts as we can, and with his speed and his ball handling ability, he's a key cog in that.
This is like AJ Corner over here. Got a bunch of Devonza questions. You got to see him in high school at Prolific Prep, Utah Prep, and now heading into college. Talking to Paul Biancardi, our national recruiting analyst, he makes the comparison of Tracy McGrady type of player. What do you see when you see him? Is there anyone you would compare him to, and what are reasonable expectations for a guy with this kind of hype?
Yeah, I mean, he's I think when I go to comparisons, oftentimes it's body type, right? Like so, like in my era, right, when I got into the league, Tracy was already gone. So Paul George comes to mind. Had several playoff series against Paul when he was in his prime. I think defensively, they remind me of each other. The ability to do a lot of different things with the ball in his hands. But he's unique because I don't think you can pigeonhole him. I know he doesn't like to get pigeonholed, and he just tries to be the best version of himself. And that's, again, going back to the coachability. For me, it's the maturity and the mentality that he has that I've really been drawn to.
We've talked about your big three stars already, but Kennard Davis is a guy that when I came and watched your team practice, I left talking about. What is it about Kennard Davis that people are going to learn about this transfer from Southern Illinois?
Yeah, unbelievable defender. He's and I've been around a lot of good players. I mean, he's one of the best defenders that I've been around and been able to coach. I mean, and by the way, he has his hands full every day with guarding guys like, AJ and guys like Rob Wright. So it's not like he's guarding me out there. You know what I mean? He actually has his hands full. But he's a grown man. He's a junkyard dog type. I think our fans will definitely grow to love just how hard he plays and takes on that, challenge. Like I heard someone the other day asking for his NBA comp. He said Lou Dort, right? So that's, he wakes up, he's eating rocks for breakfast, that kind of guy.
Open the season November 3rd against Villanova in Las Vegas. Congrats on everything so far. Really looking forward to watching you guys play.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Good luck.
Kevin Young, head coach of the BYU Cougars. And again, reason for a lot of hype surrounding BYU, AJ Debonsa. Top player in the country, perhaps the number one pick in the draft with Chancellor.
I'm now joined by the biggest recruit in BYU history. I know as someone who hopes to have a long and storied basketball career, what comes to mind as you get ready to write this college chapter of your journey?
I mean, just win. I mean, everybody has a lot of expectations for me, but my main thing is to win the Big 12, win a national title. Hasn't been done before here.
Whether it's across the country or right here in the Big 12, there's plenty of really talented freshmen.
Yeah.
What separates you from everybody else?
I mean, I think I'm pretty versatile. I think I can play 1 through 4. I think I can guard 1 through 4.
You think or you know?
I mean, I know. But, everybody else has their opinions. But, I just try to do a little bit of everything on the court, score, rebound, defend. I just think I'm one of the more versatile players in the country.
When you chose BYU, it shocked some people. But what have you learned about being on campus that has shown you that you made the right decision?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I made the right decision. Obviously, I damn near committed on my visit, but just everybody being in that family-like atmosphere. I go to class, I'm in person with it, and everybody's still normal, everybody's still regular. I be in a student section at the football games. I be having a time, so I know I picked the right choice.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of excitement about the basketball team. Also, a lot of excitement about the football team. You were there at that last game, the Holy War. Just what is the energy around that city right now?
Yeah, I mean, I heard all about it when you commit. Like, they don't like Utah and all that. I wasn't the biggest. I'm not from here, so I don't really know. But when we went there, they showed it to me, and they rushed the field after, so it was fun.
Yeah. I know you've never shied away about your aspirations to play at the next level. Yeah. So I want to put you on the record right now. Am I sitting with the 2026 #1 overall pick?
I mean, if I was a GM, I would draft myself. But, it's all about the fit, all about the right fit. Certain teams got to pick certain people.
Well, we look forward to covering you and watching that journey throughout the season. Matt?
For sure.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Chancellor. Should be a fun season to watch. One of the many reasons the Big 12 is going to be a fascinating conference here. Jerome Tang, head coach of Kansas State now as we shift our attention to the Purple and the Wildcats. And you're so observant. He sat down, Fran. The first thing he asked was if you didn't get the memo about the suits. I mean, you were all over that.
I just like to stand out a little bit more. Like, you guys want to be,
I'd have worn a half sip if they let me.
There it is.
Don't worry, Sean. I didn't invite them to Thanksgiving dinner.
Thank you. You did it. You did me when the interview room. Let me start there real quick because, team building in this era is difficult. You get a lot of new faces. You did it through cooking in this offseason with your team. Why was that such an important way for you to kind of build this group together in this offseason?
I developed a cooking passion during COVID, and It's one of my stress releases. Nothing like preparing a meal and watching people enjoy something you put your heart into. And, Jesus broke bread with his disciples all the time, and that's how they built that bond. And a lot of teaching took place during breaking bread. And so having the guys over and preparing something they wanted to eat, teaching them how to cook it. And we've done the whole team together, too, where we've cooked. And so it's just something that's part of who we are and what we do.
Some programs talk about guys that put on 20 pounds because of the strength coach. This is the rare program that the guys put on 20 pounds because of the head coach. Because of the head coach.
No, it's still our strength coach. Phil Byers, the best in the business.
Yeah. But you are such a knowing you forever. You're about relationships and your faith, but relationships with the players. It's more than just on the court. And in this new era, because I can think back to Baylor, and you had guys for 4 years, and you got to know them. But how does a coach who's so into relationships almost like kickstart it so quickly? I mean, it's got to be a little bit of a challenge.
Well, yeah, it is, but you just have to be real intentional about it. It has to, they say LeBron plans everything around his sleep because of how important sleep is to his success. And so we try to plan, Bailey and Kareem and them, they plan my schedule around me spending time with the guys on campus. And there are certain times that we're not going to let anything interfere with because I'm going to be with those guys. Part of it was not going out in July and recruiting because it was more important for me to sit in my back porch and have a discussion with a guy one-on-one than it was for me to go watch the next guy you wanted on campus. And we now have 10 to 12 months to do what we used to have 4 years to do. And so it's just real important to us.
You get those relationships with guys, and it's important to have relationships with players who have good relationships with the basket. And you certainly have a bunch of those. 5 transfers, average double figures, top 5 transfer class judged by many. What expectations do you have for the new guys coming in, P.J. Haggerty, who we're going to hear from in just a little bit as well?
Yeah, the expectation for our program is that we're in the NCAA tournament every year and with a chance to win the Big 12 and a chance to win the national championship. And that's never going to change. I'm never going to start a season without having a plan on figure out how we're going to win the last game. And because once you've done it, it's just nothing like it, right? And so that's just what it is. And these guys have come in, they all talked about winning and what they wanted to do to win and how they wanted to contribute to winning. And so that's the thing. And I've told them what they need to do. Like, hey, we've got to build this chemistry. We've got to be uncomfortable be comfortable doing the uncomfortable things. I don't know that PJ was necessarily required to be such a vocal leader. He told me, Coach, I lead by example. And I said, well, there's no such thing as a quiet leader, and trying to get him to be more vocal, and he has been. He's embraced it, man. And I was telling you, I believe I got the best point guard in America, and we're going to help develop his leadership skills so he can also be one of the best leaders in America.
You've also gone the international route. Why was that important for you to find international players with stellar resumes overseas?
Yeah, well, the bucket is only so big of players we can recruit here. And everybody wants them, and so I wanted to expand the bucket. The second thing is our international guys have all played on professional teams with older men who it's their livelihood, right? And coaches get fired, and they can get moved up and down if they don't perform. So they've developed some routine to their life, and they have some of those things that you don't have to teach because it's already been taught to them, and you just have to refine it. And so. And then when they've played so many possessions, the 24-second shot clock and the offensive rebound turns to 13, they have so many possessions in them. Yeah. Like it just almost like you say, I've heard you describe spending a year in the NBA as like getting a doctorate, right, in basketball because there's so many possessions and so many games. Well, they've done that overseas, and so they're a little bit more advanced, not necessarily better players, but maybe more understanding of this new makeup of college basketball.
With that 24-second shot clock, do you see a difference in the way they play that maybe makes it better for your guys that haven't played with that low clock?
Well, they don't panic at the end of the shot clock,
right?
Because like 10-9, they understand that's a lot of time, right? But the other side of it is that they don't take every possession as serious because they play so many. So the defensive end, we let this go, I'll make it up on the other side. So we got to get them to understand how important every possession is.
Matthew Driscoll joins your staff, who I know you have a good relationship with, Bill Peterson as well. What do those additions mean for guys that you've had relationships with and now are with you here at Kansas State?
Well, they filled the void. I had to examine myself last year and say, where am I lacking, right? What are my deficiencies as a leader? And then I had to fill those voids. And I think I'm a pretty good player development guy, which is what I did at Baylor, but I don't have the time to be on the floor every single day with these guys individually to help them get better at their game. So I needed someone that was as passionate about player development as I am about all the other things, and Bill Peterson fits that. And then, I know I can teach defense as well as anybody in the country. I know I struggle in the details of offense, right? We didn't have bad offense in the past, but maybe our details weren't as refined. And Coach Driscoll is like a detail-oriented. He says simple is sophisticated, and he has a way of teaching and a passion about it that really drives that. And you can see it in how much better our guys have gotten, just how more efficient we are at shooting the ball now. And when you bring in scores, right,
that helps.
You got to give them, but you got to give them some structure that's going to allow them to be successful, and teach them about what's the most efficient shot for each player.
And I think Coach Peterson was with a guy named Giannis as a rookie with the Milwaukee Bucks. That turned out okay.
Dirk.
Yeah, and Dirk. Yeah, Dirk and Dallas.
Steve Nash.
Yeah.
And, he worked with some really good ones, man. But I saw what he did at Baylor with guys like Freddie Gillespie.
Oh, man, how about that?
Yeah, and Mark Vidal. And so, it's we've had – I'm excited. I'm really excited about where our program's going.
We're excited to watch you this year. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Again, just a few short years removed from an Elite Eight appearance, trying to get back to the NCAA tournament. Chancellor was someone who's trying to help him get there.
Yeah, he's one of the more noteworthy newcomers of the Big 12, PJ Haggerty. And PJ, welcome to the Big 12. Before you could even officially put on a Wildcats jersey, the league decided that you were already one of the best players in the conference, naming you to the Big 12 team. What do you think that says about you as a player?
It says started with hard work. Being a player in the Big 12, I say it's one of the best conferences, I would say, probably in college basketball. So be able to come here and just try to be the best I can for every game, I feel like it'd be an exciting season.
Just a couple of years ago, we saw Kansas State make deep runs in March. How much have you envisioned being a key part in leading them back to those deep runs?
Oh, yeah, I remember that Marquise Noel run. I feel like that was very special. A very special K-State run, so just trying to get back to that. Our goal is the Final Four. We've been working since the summer, but we're going to take it game by game, and just when it comes, it comes.
Real quick, the theme song back then was Low Down by Lil Baby. What's the theme song this year?
We got to go Young Boy this year. It's a different year. Shot calling Young Boy. That's what
Shot caller by Young Boy. Yeah. Thanks for your time, PJ. Sure. After the break, we will come back with Cincinnati.
Nets here less than 4 months from now. Matt, Sean, Fran, Wes Miller entering his 5th season as the head coach at Cincinnati. 3rd season in the Big 12. Wes, what have you learned about this league and what it takes to win that gives you some hope going into this season?
The depth of the league. It's not just great at the top, which it is. It's great all the way through. There's unbelievable coaching. There's unbelievable players. There's a lot of older players in this league. I mean, you get guys in their 4th and 5th year that are old, tough, talented, and smart. And then this year we're going to have so many great young players as a part of that. It's awesome, though. Like there's challenges every single night, but it's an awesome opportunity every night. I think more than anything, after 2 years, there's just a better perspective of how to prepare for it. And I think that's what we've been excited as we tack our preseason at Cincinnati.
I just happened to be in Cincinnati last week for 2 days and spent time with this gentleman and was very impressed with the team. Depth. You lost a player in Jalen Haynes, but you have so much depth this year. How will that impact how you play?
Trying to play with unbelievable pace. We've always wanted to try to push the pace as a program. This should be the fastest we've ever played. I mean, we've done that throughout our summer and our preseason. And some of it's depth, some of it is our personnel. You don't bring Kirk Creesa to your team if you don't want to play fast. I mean, he wants to play fast every possession, but he also makes people want to play fast with him because he advances the ball so well. So I think pace will be big. We're going to try to be very connected on both sides of the floor, and it's intentional.
Right.
Like, we're not just saying be a connected group. We're trying to be intentional about it from day one. And then there's an aggressive, we're at Cincinnati. There's an aggressive approach to our community when it comes to sports. We're going to be an aggressive team. So whether that's being aggressive offensively, being aggressive on the offensive glass, making sure we do some things to make our defense more aggressive. And I think we have the versatility defensively to do that as well.
You talked about pace. At times last year, your offense got stuck. How is this year's roster difference? Just besides pace, what do the pieces look like that make you believe that when the game does get slowed down or gets tightened up in conference play, your guys are going to execute in those moments?
We had our first exhibition, and it's just an exhibition. And you guys know this stuff doesn't count in October. But we scored 100. I don't know if we could have scored 100 against anybody last year. So I think we have much more skill across the board. I think we have more decision-making just with some of the pieces that were added. So I think we can generate offense in different ways. Like, we can play through the post with Mustafa Cham. I mean, he can score down there, and that's been exciting because he's evolving as this young player. But you can throw it to him, and he can do things over both shoulders. Jalen Haynes was a guy we were going to do that with a lot. But we can score in the front court, Baba Miller through the post. We can generate through pick and roll or through space. We can generate with cutting, and then we have a lot more shooting as well. And, listen, I want to get easy ones early in the clock, and we're going to really try to push the pace. I think that's where we can be different in all those areas.
And then you got a good returner in Day Thomas, returning with some Big 12 experience, 50 games that he's played there with Cincinnati, gets the extra year with the JUCO grandfathered in clause. What does he bring back, and how important is it to have him?
And Fran knows this, but every question about Day Thomas makes me smile and makes me appreciate the question. What he means, like somebody said, you don't have many returners. We have 3. But Day-Day's worth 3 himself. I mean, he's been in our program now for 2 years. He's played 2 years in the Big 12. He represents everything that we value in Cincinnati basketball. And he's learned now how to lead and project those things onto his teammates. So he is so important to us. I will say this as a player, he's playing his best basketball of his college career. He's healthy again. So I'm really excited. And then Fran knows this. In our league, you're just going to have possessions that get stalled. Yep. And we don't want to have as many as we had a year ago. But sometimes the chips are down, and you have to have guys that can go make a play without an advantage. Day can do that, and he's doing it better now than he ever has. And then we have a young player in Sean Abayev that can do that as well. So we have a couple guys for the first time that the chips will be down, and it's going to be fun to watch them go create offense when offense isn't there.
Sean had 15, I think, in the first half against Michigan. What did you see from him, both good and bad, that you're excited about, and then you're looking for improvement as he becomes more experienced?
I saw a confidence. He has and I want to say this first, the most impressive thing about Sean Abayev to date is the way he's walked through the door. Humble, head down. He's challenged our locker room to be the hardest worker on the team as an incoming freshman. And he's earned the respect of his teammates. Keyshawn Tillery, our other freshman, fit into that same category as well. I've been so impressed with the way they've walked in the door as highly touted recruits. They've earned the other players' respect. But in the game, you see the shot making. You see his confidence in the moment's not too big, even this early. But the little things have to get better, Fran. Yeah. The stuff he can control, how hard he runs the floor, the way that he defends, which, by the way, is improving all these things at a rapid rate. But I think he'll have some really good moments here early. Wait till January and February if he keeps his approach the same way. I think he could be very good.
Yeah. It looks like a better days to come in Cincinnati, and best of luck to you this season.
The quarterstaff game is tight. Coach looking good today.
Starting well.
It is media day.
Hey, I want to be better at a lot more than dressing. I don't really care about that, but I'll take anything from Sean. So I appreciate it.
You could always get a sport coat from Matt and I.
They shop at the same store, evidently.
Need you.
I miss the suits on the sideline, so who knows?
Yeah. Maybe you'll bring it back.
Maybe.
Probably not.
That's not fair to the assistants going to the dry cleaners every week.
That's true.
So.
That's it. Wes, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Again, trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in his tenure at Cincinnati. Day Thomas could play a big role in doing that in his final year, Chancellor.
Yes, he will. Listening to your coach talk about you, I almost shed a tear. Obviously, you guys have a close relationship. How would you describe how close you two are?
Me and Coach Miller, we real close, man. You know, he makes sure I'm good on and off the court. Our off the court relationship really what got me here, just him checking in, make sure I'm good off the court, and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
You were under-recruited coming out of high school, and now you're regarded as one of the best guards in the country. How much do you appreciate the journey that it's been?
It's a blessing, you know, the work ethic I put in throughout my whole life to get here, you know. I'm finally reaching my goal, my dreams, so I'm just taking it day by day, staying in the gym locked in.
Real quick, what are some of the goals and dreams the Cincinnati Bearcats team has for this year?
To cut some nets, trying to cut some nets, you know, make a run in the Big 12 conference tournament and get to the NCAA, make a run.
Absolutely, and maybe they can cut some nets here in Kansas City come March. We will be right back after the break, talk about the Texas Tech Red Raiders out of Lubbock. Stick with us.
T-Mobile Center, just nearby the Power and Light District in Kansas City. Here, Big 12 Media Days presented by New Era. T-Mobile Center, site of the Big 12 Championship, Big 12 tournament coming in the second week of March. Matt Schick, Sean Farnham, Fran Fischel. We'll talk some Texas Tech here in just a little bit. Grant McCaslin's going to sit down. Who you knew he would have a ton of success there at Texas Tech. It seemed like a great fit. Won a JUCO national championship. There he is winning in the NIT with North Texas, and now doing the same thing, Elite Eight last year.
He's a ball coach.
Yeah.
You know, we don't say that about a lot of people, but he doesn't matter where you put Grant McCaslin, he's going to win. And he's a perfect fit for West Texas. His wife is a Texas Tech grad. I think she was an athlete there. And, you know, they always say it's in the dirt out there. I think Beard said that, Chris Beard, remember that? But it's true. I mean, he fits that community so well, and he's a tremendous coach. He's got a good team. And by the way, it's hard to get the Big 12 Player of the Year back for a second year these days.
It's hard to get burn ends and ribs sometimes at a barbecue shop here.
We're going to go to Evie Mays in Lubbock.
Yeah.
They got you covered. Take care of him, folks. But and don't forget the banana pudding. Okay. But more importantly, this kid, I watched him as a freshman at New Mexico. He's a Dallas kid, kind of under the radar, Sean. But last year down the stretch, he was dominant. And talking to Coach Mack, and we'll ask him in a few minutes, he said he's even better this year.
Well, and they put him in great situations. I mean, you look at a lot of these videos, it's a lot of those on-ball screens with a little short roll where they try to create space for him to get to his left hand where he's so successful. He just impacts winning. And you mentioned Grant McCaslin, I want to go back to that. Yeah. Is his resume: junior college, winner; Division I, lower Division I, winner; college assistant coach, winner. And now you put him there. We talk about winning being so important for kids that you recruit and bring into your program. It's also important to the person that's standing on the sideline that when you go and look at who you're hiring as a coach, do they have a history of understanding how to build a roster? And in this day and age, in particular, I think having a JUCO background helps out these coaches a ton because you had roster turnover every single year. And so it prepares you when you lose players that were important to being part of your Elite Eight team that maybe could have come back and then end up going somewhere else. You don't waste a moment. You pivot. You find somebody else that's going to fit that spot, and you bring them in, and your program doesn't miss a beat.
At the start of the transfer portal, as we see Coach Mack, he's heading this way. At the start of the transfer portal, some of my JUCO friends said, hey, I don't want to hear any complaints. We do this every year, and Coach Mack certainly do that. He lost Darian Williams. But he added Lawan Watts, who I saw play from Washington State last year.
And I think he adds a little bit of a different component. We'll talk to Coach when he comes up about that. But I think he adds a little bit of a different component. And there's nothing against Darian Williams, who's going to have a great season at North Carolina State for Will Wade. But I think when you look at Texas Tech, anybody that wants to look at this and say, okay, well, can they repeat their success? I would say going into the season, I'm a buyer on repeating success for the Red Raiders.
Well, let's ask him, Matt. I mean, why are we wasting time
Here
here?
he is, sidling in here.
He was probably looking for some barbecue in downtown Kansas City.
No, we got good barbecue.
We've already talked about it. We got him covered when he comes to Lubbock this year.
I won't mention barbecue capital of the world here in Kansas City.
It's all good. I love it here, too.
It's been good. You guys were good. Great last season. What's left for this team to accomplish with this group?
Oh, a lot. You know that. I mean, this isn't even. We're just. This team's just scratching the surface, and I think we got a taste of it with a young group of guys. I mean, JT being just a sophomore, Christian being a freshman. I mean, those guys got a chance to see it. Had great leadership, and guys like Chance McMillan, who'd been through quite a few NCAA tournaments and separated himself as one of the best players to ever play at Texas Tech. And what a great leader. And I think our guys do not just say, I hope we get to do this. I think there's a core belief with our feet on the ground firmly, like we know how we can do this now and what it takes to put yourself in position to actually do it.
There's a great thing, a motivational thing I always have up in my room. It's called winning is not normal. It's hard, right? And it's a long statement about how unnatural it is to win. You have won everywhere you've gone. Why has winning followed you, and what do you cultivate to allow yourself to have that success?
Well, everybody likes to talk about the success, but go look at all the mess ups I've made. I mean, I think it's your ability to tell the truth,
and what you need to improve on. And we lost on a tip dunk at the buzzer, our first team to ever play. But prior to that, we played a Mark Adams team at Howard College, and I was 26, the head coach at Midland College, and there was an under out of bounds play. We hadn't beat them yet. I had a great play drawn up, and at the end of the play, all 4 players on the court were laying on the ground. Why? Because Mark bullied us off every screen, and we couldn't get the ball in bounds. We turn it over, and we don't even get a shot off. So it's just like those experiences that people don't know of failures that allow you to believe and learn. And I'm thankful at 26 I got the opportunity to be a head coach and got a chance to mess up enough. But you know this, there's a competitiveness. Ultimately, I think the heart is to tell the truth, be honest, and love people in a real way. I honestly think that's the separator, and not what you get out of all these experiences, which is cool. If I'd ever told you I got to sit next to Coach Fran, I'd tell you it was the coolest thing.
Big moment in his life.
It is, but like truthfully, because I watched him coach and I watched him on TV, and now I get to do this. But really, it's not what you get, it's what you give to people, and that's the heart behind our program, and that's why I hope we continue to have success.
It's not often that the Big 12 Player of the Year returns in this day and age.
Sure.
And you told me that JT Toppin's improved even since last year. In what areas?
Well, you saw him because you've seen his development. He was a role player in regards to his thought process, his approach, and he was just like, get on the floor and I'll show you I can play. And I think to be elite at this, you have to know what everybody needs to be connected to. And how do you do that? One, he's done that by the weight room, and he's really physical. I mean, like, honestly, his body can deliver the blows on both ends that I think are important in order to be successful when everybody's coming for you. One. And two, his character of communication with everybody, whether it be on the sideline, whether it be to you all, whether it be during practice, whether it be in a huddle. He's just really developed, and he's grown where I think he can handle the load of helping people around him, not just go do it yourself.
Looking forward to watching him and your team. Again, great work so far. Best of luck to you again.
Thanks for having me. Wreck 'em.
Haslam, head coach of Texas Tech, Big 12 Player of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, Consensus All-American. JT, back again with Chancellor.
Well, welcome back to the Big 12, JT. You could be getting ready to tip off your NBA career. Instead, you decided to return to Texas Tech. What is it about that place and that program that made you not want to leave Lubbock?
Just the support I get from there. They treat me like a celebrity out there, and it's just like, that's just hard. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. The fans are amazing. The alumni are amazing. And it just feels like home. They make it feel like home, so I love it there.
You know, your head coach said that you were just scratching the surface. After winning the Big 12 Player of the Year and finishing as an All-American, what exactly does that surface look like?
I don't know. It just really just keep working to see where it takes me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I've been doing. So really just keep working, being humble, staying grounded, and just seeing where the work's taking me. The work gonna speak for itself.
Well, JT and the Red Raiders are hoping it takes them to a Final Four this year. JT, thanks for your time. Coming up after the break, the Arizona State Sun Devils, Bobby Hurley and company will join us on the show. Stick around.
The speed dating version of media and coaches there. One-stop shop here at T-Mobile Center. Matt Schick, Sean Farnham.
That's a great way, by the way. That is a great way to describe
it. Now we'll get longer than a minute or two here.
He's got a good personality. He's handsome. I mean,
certainly does. Bobby Hurley, head coach of Arizona State, joining us. You have talked about at length about you're all in. You're invested in this year. Describe to the fans what you mean by that.
Well, just giving everything I have for the group this year, and we worked very hard in the preseason just to put together the roster, went in a different direction. A lot of international players, got some mid-major guys transferring up. So just like the dynamic we put together. I think we have a deeper team than we had last year. We had some key injuries that really hurt us when we got to Big 12 play. So we're trying to focus on just not being one-man show and having more balance on offense.
Sean was probably the foremost expert on Mo Odom by the end of last March.
I told him, I said, the WCC tournament, he had 3 of the best games I think any player in the country had back-to-back. And the whole time I was calling the games, I know this man's playing basketball somewhere next year, and he's getting paid.
But he's a lot of people don't realize this. I don't know if you know I'm a native New Yorker.
Yes.
And you know that, right? And he is a kid he's like an old school New York City point guard, is he not?
He is. He's very shifty with the ball. He could create. He could escape different positions on the floor just off the dribble and knows where everybody is. Really does a great job of finding people. He's 4th in the country in assists last year.
Yeah, unbelievable with his distribution and with some good pieces around him. You got almost a completely new roster. Last year, sustaining defensive stops became challenging.
Yeah.
How is this team going to be better at the defensive end of the floor?
Well, we know we have to. I mean, in this league, as talented as some of these rosters are, you can't outscore people. We're going to have to find a way to get stops and defend. It's always been in my DNA to want to defend and play that end of the floor. But just being in the league after a year, you realize like the physicality and how good these teams are. And Fran has been talking about that for a long time when I was out in the Pac-12. But it's true. And so we prioritize just getting deeper on the front court to be able to try and protect the paint better. And just having good options on the perimeter. I think having a playmaking pass-first point guard this year is going to bring a good thing to our team dynamic.
With the new roster, and you're not alone in this league, give us somebody that you say, hey, besides Mo Odom, keep an eye on this guy.
Well, we have a 6'11" center from Senegal, Massama Diop, and from the day he stepped on campus, he's been very impressive. He's probably one of the biggest upsides on our team long-term, and certainly I think he's ready to contribute this year. He's played at a very high level in Spain in the ACB League the last 2 years.
Gran Canaria,
yes.
Beautiful part, and he's a rim runner, lob catching.
Yes. Absolutely. Really good hands, finishes around the basket above the rims, got good touch. He can even shoot a mid-range jump shot, makes his free throws, and can change ends of the floor, understands angles and positioning. He's been well coached over there.
Besides hanging with me for a couple of days in Maui, what are you most looking forward to about that trip?
I don't know. I had good memories there. It's never easy as a coach to go enjoy Hawaii like when you're there. You're just like...
Your family would know about this. Your family would know about this, right?
Not only that, I mean, I experienced it at the Atlantis. I did not have a good trip to the Bahamas a few years ago, so it could go sideways on you fast, and you could really forget that the sun's out, So
yes.
I think it's going to have great memories there as a player, playing there and winning the Maui Invitational. So I'm excited to see what this year's team could bring to the
table. And you're not going to ask Danny for any tips when you go to Maui, or?
No, I'm going to leave that one alone.
That's what I was getting at. Now, your brother's got you both have national championships in your DNA.
His brother did send him a book, though. He's going to read it on the flight over. It's going to be great.
It's a great book.
Yes.
Ian O'Connor and Dan Hurley.
Maui Invitational for the first time in nearly 20 years for Arizona State. Looking forward to that in the season to come. Thanks for doing it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Bobby Hurley again. We talked about Mo Odom, Pepperdine to Arizona State to Chancellor. Guys?
One of the best dime droppers in the nation, Mo Odom, and you finished 4th in the country last year in assists. You now have an opportunity to learn from the all-time leader in assists, and Bobby Hurley. What's the biggest thing you've learned from him?
The biggest thing I learned from him is not to make the spectacular play every time. Just make the simple read, and it'll fall in your lap.
I like that. I like that. So I went to Arizona State.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cronk High School. And while I was there, that's when Bobby Hurley was first starting. He had some really good guards like Lugan Stewart, Shannon Evans, Trey Holder. And they started the Guard U moniker.
Yeah.
What is it about your skill set that can help take that mantra forward?
My skill set, I feel like my skill set is more very shifty, very different pace, not too fast, not too slow. So bringing the Guard U here is just something I'm just following, you know?
Yeah. Last week the Big 12 preseason polls came out, and this team was picked to finish last.
Yeah.
Why will voters be wrong?
Voters will be wrong because they haven't seen nobody play. You know what I'm saying? We have 9 freshmen coming in, about 8 freshmen coming in, some overseas kids coming in, NAIA kid. We got a JUCO kid. Only person that's returning is Trevor Best, and he's half-year freshman. He came in January, February, so he doesn't even have a real full college basketball year under his belt. So, it's just prediction, though.
Predictions indeed. We will see how they fare over the course of the season. Arizona State Sun Devils, Mo Odom. Coming up after the break, Steve Lutz of the Oklahoma State Cowboys joins us on the set. Stick with us.
Big 12 basketball media days. Talking to every single head coach on the men's side. We had the women yesterday. It's been a great event here in Kansas City. And right now, Steve Lutz entering his second season with Oklahoma State. He had an exhibition already so far this season, a couple weeks ago. What have you learned about your team heading into this season?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps off the charts is we can score the ball better. Franny was at the game, and he texted me afterwards, and he goes, yeah, you're certainly improved on the offensive end. Now, it doesn't say that our defense is any better, which is obviously going to be a problem in this league if we don't guard the ball. But, yeah, I think offensively we'll be a lot more fun to watch and be able to score and shoot a lot better.
Doug Gottlieb had a lot of assists in his career as a player at Oklahoma State. He gave you a pretty big assist with this kid, Anthony Roy. I mean, I'm half joking. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, he played part of a season, obviously got hurt. But he was impressive in the win over a good Auburn team and just an incredible shot maker, it seems that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony has, over the course of his career, always made shots, right? And I thought the impressive thing from him against Auburn the other night was that he also, he got 12 rebounds.
Yes.
And to me, I think if he's going to be a player for a long, long time at the professional level, he's going to have to be able to rebound and defend his position. But when the game's on the line, he's not afraid to take and make the shot, and that was fun to see.
Yeah.
Coach, your offense has improved. How much of that is those 3 guards and having 3 guards that you can put the ball in their hands and allow them to go make plays?
Yeah, no, I think that's a large part of it. I mean, I don't care how good a basketball coach you are. If you don't have good players and especially ball-handling guards, the way we play, you're going to have a hard time. And with that being said, we've got some other guards that didn't play that night that are also going to be contributors. So I think we're going to have good depth at the guard position, and we'll be able to keep coming at you as the game goes on.
Have you coached? This jumped out at me. Jalen Curry, your transfer from UMass, he's one of the quickest guards I can remember seeing in a while. Have you coached anybody that quick?
You know, it's funny you say that because I think that Kanye Clary's a little faster.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when those guys are guarding each other in practice, it's fun to watch because I haven't done it as much with this team in terms of picking up 94 feet and jamming the basketball and those sorts of things. But when they pick each other up 94 feet, it's fun to watch.
Larry and Curry, a couple of your portal additions here. And when you were hired in April of 2024, wasn't as much runway for the portal. And now you go to the NIT and then sign, 4 players in the span of about 10 days. Can you walk us through that speed dating process, what it's like here when you're trying to check the boxes with players?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that come January, I mean, you kind of know, hey, these 100 guys are going in the portal. And so you've already evaluated who you like. You may not have contact with them, obviously, because that would be against NCAA rules, but you can at least expedite. Instead of calling 50 kids, you're calling 20 kids and try and get those 20 kids, right? And so probably the last month of the season, a couple of the assistant coaches, I took them out of the scouting role and just said, guys, I need you to evaluate the portal every single day. And then every single night, you're going to say, hey, you got to watch these 2 guys, coach. And I would say yes or no. So that gave us a huge head start. And then, you have to factor in the other part of it. We had more money, right? We had some people step up, particularly one really good friend of ours, and that helped us. We had that golden window or that golden period where we could pay those guys in NIL, and we were able to jump on it.
Well, the ability to get transfers, the ability also to get very talented freshmen. No, you can't even talk about next year, but what is it about the brand that you are building right now at Oklahoma State that you think is resonating so well with so many talented young players as well?
Well, I mean, number one, we play really fast, and all these guys want to play fast. They want to have freedom. And I think if and when players talk to our players, they're always going to tell them that they're treated well. Like, I'm going to coach you hard, but I'm not going to demean you in any way. I'm always going to be in your life. It's a relationship forever. And I know that people say that this is very much a transactional deal these days, and somewhat it is at times. But still, deep down inside, if you're recruiting the right people, the relationships matter. And I think that that's starting to shine through. So I really do believe that we're building a great brand. Obviously, there was a tremendous brand before I ever took the job, but we're starting to get it back again.
What excites you about that brand, Coach Sutton and all the history, Mr. Ryba? What's that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the core. It's my DNA, right? And the tough, physical, hard-nosed, man-to-man defense, that's something that resonates with not only the fan base, and it transfers into the Big 12. Because if you don't have that on a nightly basis, you're going to get your head knocked in a few nights.
And I appreciate the polo. We've seen a lot of quarter zips today, but like the polo, it's very sharp, it's very clean. I think it was a step up.
I appreciate you, Sean. Who's winning the tie battle out of the 3 of you?
I don't know. They wore the same jacket, so who knows what?
You didn't have to say that out loud. There's no reason to say that.
Got a little orange in here.
Yeah, it's good. Very good. Steve, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. There are some portal additions, some talented freshmen, key returning players as well. None more so than Robert Jennings, who is with Jazz.
Yeah, Coach Lutz is rocking the polo. Robert Jennings II has got the zip-up polo on, rocking his Cowboys. We just heard from your coach. He's building a culture out there in Stillwater. At its foundation, what is that culture made of?
Hard work, first and foremost. A team that goes out and gives their everything. He always says he wants to make practice harder than the games, and I feel like he does a great job of that, and he prepares us for the game. So when we get out there for game time, we're ready to play. And we control the controllables. That's the only thing that we control every time we step out there every night. We can't control whether every shot falls. Like, those aren't things you can control. You just got to get back in the gym and work on those things. But when it comes to, like, defending, communicating, and being a good teammate, doing the right things every time you step on the floor, I feel like those are the things you can control. And I feel like that's the core of our basketball team.
Yeah, well, speaking of this core, you added a lot of new faces. And one of the faces is Anthony Roy. Last year, he was giving y'all buckets when he went out there to Stillwater and played you in that building. 27 points for him. What do you remember about that game, and how cool is it that he's now your teammate?
What's funny is last year, Marcellus Avery was actually Anthony Roy's teammate prior to him, prior to us playing them, and prior to Chi coming to Oklahoma State. So before the game, like, he had warned us. He was like, if he get hot, he can get hot. And we kind of heard him, but we wasn't really listening. Like, we Big 12 basketball. Like, you telling us about somebody that go to Green Bay. Like, and the moment we stepped out there, I remember he hit a three on the right wing, and I was like, oh, hold on, like, he's special. And I never would think that we would be in the same jersey, like that we would be next to each other on the same team. And just being able to go against him every day in practice, it not only just speaks to the player that he is, but the people around him, just guarding somebody that caliber of talent every day, it makes you a better defender. And it just, like, I feel like he puts other people in better spots. It opens up the floor because you always have to know where he's at on the floor. And if it's late shot clock, like, all eyes are on him. So somebody might be cutting to the rim and be wide open because, you feel me, a lot of people are ball watching. So just having a player of that caliber really does a lot for just everybody.
Real quick, how many points did he score on you in that game? Do you remember?
I can't tell you. I can't remember exactly.
Well, at least you guys are teammates now, and you have plenty of time to have assists to each other. Now, coming up after the break, TCU, the Horned Frogs. They will join us. Stick with us. We'll be right back after the break.
T-Mobile Center in Kansas City will be cutting down some nets in less than 4 months from now. The season beginning in just a couple of short weeks. Matt Schick, Sean Farnham, Fran Fraschilla, Jamie Dixon, head coach of the TCU Horned Frogs, entering his 10th season. More than 500 wins as a head coach, 24 shy of 200 at TCU. You have seen this sport and the way players are acquired evolve over the last handful of seasons. How would you best describe it as a guy who's been through it all?
I say it used to be development. It used to be projecting and evaluating and recruitment, and now those are kind of all out the window. You know, I mean, it's talent procurement surely is huge, but it's just done differently. And development is, June to November. And, I also say the other thing is we're all recruiting the same guys because we all have the same analytics. When it comes to March, April, when the season portal opens, everybody's got the same data. They've got the same analytics. You've got all these guys going in the portal, and there's split-second decisions all in the same data. That's why all recruiting the same guys. And so it's different. But once we get to June and we get them all there, and you dealt with the agents and the different things, once you get them there in June, it's back to like I'm coaching at LA Valley College again. It's good. It's good. And the game is good. And college basketball is good. And the caliber of play is really good because everybody's so old at these Power Fives, so Power Fours now. But the game is good. It's just that we keep talking about the NIL and the different things. But the game is good, and the players are good, and the players are great. When you get them there in June and start practicing, it's fun.
Well, there is a little bit of development because you brought 4 sophomores back.
Yeah.
And one of them had a huge, I watched the game against Tarleton State, David Punch, who showed flashes of being a high-level Big 12 player a year ago, had a very good game. How's his development been over the summer?
Well, he's gotten better. All 4 of our guys did. Now we have 6 guys back. So, I mean, I say that. I say development over 4 years, 5 years. That's how we used to talk about it. Yeah. And now you're talking about the one freshman year to sophomore year. But David, he's gotten better, better on the perimeter. We practiced last year, and he was a 5-man. All summer, all fall, and the first 8 games or so. And then we had a couple injuries, and all of a sudden, okay, forget everything. We're going to play on the perimeter. So probably not the best thing for us as a team, but we're in a unique situation. We lost a couple guys, and we had to adjust. And so he's gotten better, more comfortable, especially offensively.
How many threes passes. The other day?
He had a couple threes, and his shot's better arc, but his decision making is split, quick decisions on passing and following and reversing it. Just better out there, and he's a good passer. But now we're making a simpler play, but a quicker decision at the same time.
Coach, you talk about the state of college basketball in general. The state of the Big 12 is as strong as it's ever been. The challenges that presents in the way you have to build your roster to how you're going to have to compete when the games are going in January, February, and then ending up here in March for a conference championship.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, the first year we're not a lot of teams are coming back with guys. So it's going to be some surprises, I think, this year more than we've seen in the Big 12. But, yeah, I mean, this league is all in. It's been the best, my joke has been I've been in the best conference in the country every year of my coaching career, which I don't recommend. But the Big East was. Then we went to the ACC with Louisville, Syracuse, us, and Notre Dame. That became the best league. And then I go out here, and this thing's become what it is. So the interest, the commitment to it, there's no question. It's that good. You got to stay old. You bring up those young guys, but you still got the old guys seem to be the guys that win, especially in this league. Freshmen haven't won in this league. And so that's what we've seen time and time again.
And you've gotten old with some of the transfers as well. Iowa, Providence, Oregon State. Who are some of the names that you think will and need to step up for you guys to be successful?
Well, the 2 guards are key for us, and they're here today, and because I just love their leadership and their unselfishness, and I think they've really brought that to our team, which is hard to do. but they've become the leaders, and I think they're offensively they're as good as we can possibly be at that spot. Defensively, I think they're going to be there, but we're small at the guard spot. But I think we can adapt. We're doing some things to protect against that. And then Michael Robinson's been a guy that's developed too. He's had a good offseason for us too. So I think we were going to put together a nice three-headed, three different guys could play the 5 spot for us, and they all give us something. And on paper, it doesn't look like we have a lot there, but I think we're going to surprise and show continued improvement as the year goes on.
Looking forward to seeing it, Jamie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Jamie.
Again, one of those newcomers from Providence, double figures in 23 games a season ago. Jaden Pierre is with Chancellor.
Yes, let me just start off the interview by saying Jaden Pierre is extremely disrespectful. Look at the ice on this young man. Look at the chain. Go ahead, show it off. Since you got the bling on, you have the watch, the bracelet, the ring too.
Yeah.
That NIL money at TCU must be different. But Jaden the Package Pierre on the court, what does the package represent?
It really speaks to who I am as a player. All-around guy. Like I got a total package. I could score the ball, shoot the ball, playmaker for my teammates. I could defend. I'm a good leader, vocal person. It's all-around guy, and really what you want in a basketball player.
The package comes by way of Providence. When you hit the transfer portal, you had options. Mm-hmm. Why was it the TCU Horned Frogs, the team that you ultimately selected?
Really the coaching staff, the history that they have, the guys they've coached from top to bottom. The coaching staff was a great staff. They won a lot of games. Coach Dixon has won over 500 games. My visit was a great visit. Just being in the area in Fort Worth, Dallas, it was a place that I feel like I could really wanted to be and call home, and that really sealed the deal for me.
I think Super Frog certainly disagrees. He certainly agrees. He's hanging out with us today. You had the opportunity to go dancing your freshman year. What would it mean for you to have another shot at it in your last year of eligibility?
That's the reason I'm here. The reason I'm here, I mean, Coach Dixon has done it at a high level. I mean, I want to say, 17 out of his 21 years maybe coaching like that. He's been in in a tournament. So, I mean, he's done it. He knows what it takes to get there, and it's the reason I trust him and his staff to get our team there this year.
Let me hold some of that NIL money, man. I need out the chain, or which one?
We can work something out. You got nice watch right there yourself, though. Yes, you do.
Jaden Pierre, thanks for joining us. Coming up after the break, Utah will join us. The Utes hanging out with us on Big 12 Media Day. Stick around.
Welcome back. Big 12 basketball media days here in Kansas City. A couple of new head coaches here in the Big 12. Not new to the Utes, of course. Alex Jensen entering his first season with Utah. Played under Rick Majerus. What is it like to do what he did? A guy that you coached under, or played under, I should say, and now you're manning the program.
Well, I try not to think about it too much because what he did is pretty remarkable. But yeah, since I've been back, I'm often reminded of many stories and situations that I went through. But most of the memories are good, and the run that he had and I had there were great. People still remember him. So hopefully we can, bring some of those back.
I had to coach against you when I was at New Mexico, as you know.
Yes.
And I have tremendous respect for the way you played. Very similar to a few people, including Kevin Young now at BYU, you left the NBA, where it's very possible you could have been a head coach in the next few years. You had a great reputation. What was it about coming back to your alma mater and college basketball that excited you?
It's a good question. Not sure I can fully answer it. Other than it felt right.
Yeah.
I think that the college landscape's evolving, and I still feel that there's a sustainable way to do it for a long time. They'll put more guardrails in, and it's part of the stability. I think the appealing part was being able to build something. I get to choose who I'm around, and I do that with, and that's one of the things in basketball. It's great winning, but also those relationships you make along the way, the people you go through those highs and lows with. So that was an appealing thing, and being from Utah, I know it has happened, and that then it can happen again.
Coming in and inheriting this program, obviously a ton of roster turnover, which is not uncommon for any program, but when you go through a coaching change, it's a little bit different to find the players that fit your identity and how you want to play. How did you approach that, in particular with your general manager, to assemble the roster that you want to have?
I say this. We methodically, we took our time. It's an interesting process, and it's going to change, and I think, we be better as we go through it, because the pool of players is so big now. Yep. It's different. In the NBA, there's might be 30, 40 players you focus on. But, one of the big litmus tests for me is, does a guy like to play? Does he love to play? Seems like a simple thing, but it's really not. And then also when you watch kids and talk to them, is it a kid you'd like to play with?
Yeah.
Which is big.
There's a kid that you have that looks like he loves to play, Terrence Brown, who had no offers coming out of high school until Fairleigh Dickinson. And I watched him the other night, and he looks like a kid that has a joy for the game. Would that be accurate, just watching him from?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. He loves it. And, he has the problem that you love as a coach. He goes too fast all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like it's easier to try to teach him to slow down and, let the game slow down for you and see things. But, he's in the gym all the time, and he loves to play.
20 points a game last season. We know how you played at Utah. What are the fingerprints or DNA of a Alex Jensen coached team? What are we going to see?
I think it's kind of what's been successful at Utah for decades. Just basketball in general in Utah. I think that the Jazz and the Utes, they've been overlooked guys that were drafted and that overachieve. And I think fans of, they don't demand championships, but they demand a team that's going to play hard. And, hopefully you don't have a ton of turnover. Like, continuity's still underrated. And, just players that want to be there, that overachieve, get better every year, and, might not necessarily be a top whatever kid.
Can you find a Lauri Markkanen or a Hano Medola?
We would love to.
Yeah.
I think you'd go with a Keith Van Horn.
Yeah. Andre Miller would be great, too.
Miller, yeah.
Look, those teams, come on, Coach. Those gave you nightmares when you were
They did. They
yeah,
sure
you know
did.
what? There's a picture in the office of the Final Four team. Doliak, Andre Miller, Hano, Drew Hansen. And it's a good reminder. Nobody on that picture was top anything.
Right, exactly.
So averaged just 6 losses a year when he was a player at Utah. That was.
I got one win in 3 years. Just one.
Thanks for doing it, Alex.
That's why you're sitting here with us. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, my friend. And I have less pressure here.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Again, a bunch of new players there at Utah. Chancellor's with one of them. Guys?
Yes, I am here with James Okonkwo, and this brother's been all over the place. Born and raised in Maidenhead, England. Then you had your first stop in West Virginia, North Carolina, Akron, and now you are with the Utah Utes. What's special about the Salt Lake area?
The Salt Lake area? It's probably one of the most unique cities I've been in so far. It's it's calm, but there's things to do. Like, regardless of your taste or like what your interests are, there's always something to do. It's one of the few, I think, one of the only cities where there's an MBA and a college program, I think.
Yeah, Houston. Yeah, you got a few, but
Houston,
yes.
that's true. But yeah, it's just it's a great place to be. Talking to all the donors and all the staff members on the team, they're all great people. They're great to be around. I'm learning a lot inside the basketball court and outside of it, growing as a person. And yeah, it's just been a dream come true.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement surrounding the program right now. How has your coach revitalized the energy around Utah?
Honestly, I think just bringing his like prestige of working in so many levels of basketball, especially most notably the Dallas Mavericks. He brings like a level of competence to like the staff that is different, I guess.
Competence is a good thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing, but like it's different because everything he explains is more in detail, and he tells you the reason why we're doing it and how it will benefit our team, and he's a really deep thinker. And he will like explain the whole process like in the middle of practice, so we even like understand it as it's going on.
Sure.
And yeah, he's a great guy. There's great guys on our team.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing how he leads the Utah Utes throughout the year. James, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Now coming up on a Big 12 Media Day, Iowa State. Taman Lipsey, he'll join me on the set, plus much more. Stick with us.
Epicenter of college basketball today is Kansas City, site of Big 12 Media Days. Hitting the home stretch. A few more coaches to chat with here in the 16-team league. TJ Altenberger, head coach of Iowa State, in the midst of the best four-year stretch in program history. In this culture of college basketball, how do you sustain success over a somewhat extended period of time?
We've been really fortunate with our coaching staff to have tremendous continuity. Our coaches do a great job teaching every single day. And the young men that we've had come into our program, when any coach starts new, you can have a vision and tell guys what you're going to do and what you're going to be about, but they have to be able to put that into action before you've actually done it. And we were fortunate that first year, a young man, Isaiah Brockington, came in, and he really set the tone for our program, and the guys that have come after him have wanted to keep that same standard.
We talk a lot about your guards, but there's a player to me that's the glue of your team, Joshua Jefferson. I got to see him a lot at St. Mary's before he transferred to you. His body and his physique look completely different this year. What can fans expect to this year's version of Joshua Jefferson and his level of importance to your squad?
Well, he's put in tremendous work, not only his game, but you mentioned his body. And I think for him, he's moving so well. He's a matchup nightmare. He's a guy that you put the ball in his hands in space. He's a really tough cover one-on-one, and he's a tremendous passer, probably as good of an interior passer as there is in college basketball in the paint when you bring a double team or a secondary defender. So I know for him, there's so much he wants to accomplish this year, and he's such a complete player. He impacts winning in such a variety of ways. We need Joshua to come out every single night with great energy, be a force on the glass, and let that carry the rest of his game.
This league is about having a comfort level with your point guard. Arizona's got it with Jaden Bradley, and there's some others, Day Thomas at Cincinnati. You've got one of the outstanding Big 12 point guards really in the history of the league, in Taman Lipsey, a hometown kid. What's it been like to coach him, and what's it been like to allow him to grow into the kind of leader he's become?
Well, and being able to coach him on it's an honor every single day, because the character, the leadership, the toughness, the desire to be a Cyclone that he brings to everything, that permeates our program. When you see him out there, his desire to do the right thing on both sides. Tremendous playmaker, tremendous on-ball defender, but even more than that, he's a guy that when things start to get away from you, or you have something not going your way, he's able to flip the script, turn it, and make a big-time positive play, chase down a loose ball, and it's great winning habits. So to have a guy that loves Iowa State and grew up in our program and watched so many come before him, the pride and passion he plays with, I'm just hoping they make some rule that, like, when you have a hometown guy, he gets 10 more years of eligibility. We don't ever want to lose him.
If you sue the NCAA, there's a chance you could win.
They're very vulnerable.
And you may get fifth year here in the next week or so. Who knows?
He's the career leader in steals there at Iowa State. He's been great. Great to have a good point guard. Great to have some stretch big men as well. Milan Momcilovic, injured a little bit last year. What level of green light does he have to shoot the basketball?
The most green of any light in America. I mean, with Curtis Jones last year, Milan was on the team and saw exactly how that went for Curtis, and now that's where we need him to step in. He doesn't need to try to be Curtis Jones. He needs to do what he does, but we want him to have an unconscionable spirit. We want the range 10 feet behind the line. We want him to hunt and keep hunting. We want to make sure that he puts pressure on the opposing defense every single possession. We know he can do that job.
You don't play defense, you disrupt at the defensive end of the floor. What are the principles and the pillars that you coach with at that end that have allowed your defense to be so disruptive and create so many more possessions per game based on the number of turnovers you force?
What's important for us is that we start with that ball pressure on the basketball with our pickup point. We want to be physical on the ball. We don't want to let anybody initiate their offense at the spot where they're comfortable. We try to disrupt with denying, entries to the high post or, blowing up handoffs to the strong side. So everything starts with being the aggressor, throwing the first punch. We spent a lot of time this offseason doing training with the UFC and doing mixed martial arts and teaching our guys about throw the first punch. We want to throw the first punch with our defense every single time, and that's where we set the tone and disrupt.
UFC, look at this guy.
He looks like he competes in the UFC. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I thought it was the Iowa State strength coach when he walked in here. It's so much fun watching you grow. It's interesting about you were with Freddie when the transfer thing started, way before anybody else. You seem to pick the right transfers in terms of character and play. What goes into that? What level of preparation on the part of your staff goes into that?
Well, where we've been fortunate is to have opportunities to work for great coaches like Greg McDermott, Fred Hoiberg, and Steve Prohm. And when Fred came in, we wanted to try to figure out how do we get more talent in the program sooner so that building a program doesn't mean we're waiting till the 4th or 5th year to win. And Fred was ahead of his time with that. And picking the right guys for Iowa State is something that we take tremendous pride in. And if you asked, where's the guy from? What's his background like? I think there's been guys from different parts of the country. There's been guys with different backgrounds. But at the end of the day, it's really appreciate the opportunity every day to play in Hilton Coliseum. What we talk to our staff about now is we want to see how guys handle adversity. What did you do when something got hard? We're watching film on what did you do when your team was losing? You lost a big game. You played poorly. Did you do other things? Did you show character in other ways to help your team win? We all know in this league how great these coaches are. We know how great the players are. We know how great the schemes are, and we know there's going to be adversity. So instead of avoid it, we want to hit it head on and say, it's coming. Let's find the guys that we can have in our locker room so when we have a tough day, those are the guys that we're proud of and we can go to war with.
And finding the guys, not just portal additions. Oh, yeah, freshmen still very important here. You have a top 25 freshman class. Jamarian Bateman, unique kid, 8 siblings, all with the letter J, 25 points a game, and has a good jump shot. What have you seen? Valedictorian of this high school as well. What about him and this freshman class you think can contribute?
Well, as Coach mentioned, when you're a valedictorian at your high school, I don't care where you go to school. That means
go to Sean's high school.
That means you're.
De La Salle High School does not step aside for anyone. Trust me.
And look, for Jamarian, it's not just about his intelligence. It's not just about his work ethic. It's about the consistency of habit every single day. And when you see how he works and you see how he cares and you see how important it is to him, for guys like that, you know it's going to come around and go their way. There's still going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be ups and downs. There will be for every freshman. As many as a terrific freshman we have in this league, there's going to be challenges for freshmen when you come into the Big 12. But Jamarian Bateman's character and work ethic, consistency are so strong. He loves to defend. He can knock down shots. And those are skills that translate for him.
TJ, thanks a lot for the conversation. Best of luck this year.
Thank you so much.
5 wins shy of 100 already. Entering his 5th season.
We're going to go do some push-ups.
There at Iowa State. Speak for yourself. Don't want to break the suit. Great point guard coming back for Iowa State. Chancellor.
Pleased to be joined by Mr. Taman Lipsey. And Taman, congratulations. You got married over the offseason. What's it like balancing being a baller and a husband?
No, it's definitely different. It's a blessing. I had a great summer. And there is a balance. I mean, it's definitely different when I go home. I don't go home to teammates and roommates anymore. I'm going home to my wife, and it's a little different. But it helps me stay humble, stay grounded, and just knowing that I come back to her and she'll always be there for me.
Absolutely. Now it shows your loyalty, and I want to say you're a rare breed because it's rare to see a really good player stay in one place for all 4 years. As you enter your senior season, what does it mean to you to put on that Cyclones uniform for the final time?
It means the world. Super blessed. Don't take it for granted at all. Growing up in Ames, a Cyclone fan my whole life, and now going into my 4th year being at Iowa State and being able to put on that jersey, represent the program, the city, the whole university. It's a blessing. I don't take it for granted. Go out there and try to win as many games as I can.
You're one of the really good point guards in the conference, and there's a lot of them. What's it like as a competitor knowing every single night is going to be a tough challenge on a night-to-night basis?
That's what you want. That's what we love about the Big 12 Conference. No game's an easy game. No game's an off game. No matter what team you're playing, you got to go in there and you got to compete. It's going to be a battle. Like you said, we got great players in this conference. A lot of great point guards that I get to go against, make each other better, and have fun competing.
Speaking of competing, I see you've been in the gym. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at your coach, TJ. If it came to bench press, who's getting the most reps in?
I'm going to take myself.
Okay.
I haven't actually seen how much he can bench press, but I can get up there. So it'd be a show to see.
I'll have to see that before you get out and graduate. Taman, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yep. Back to you, Matt.
Chancellor, thanks. Taman, appreciate the time. Yeah, you were having a conversation with him earlier.
I asked him earlier. I'm going to call him out. I'm going to call him out for a second because I had him in the interview room. I said, what was your favorite thing you did in the offseason, non-basketball related? First question. He said, golfing with my teammates. Golfing with my teammates.
Incorrect.
I said, wrong answer. But we fixed it. We fixed it, right?
No, yeah. He definitely caught me off guard. I had switched my brain to the basketball brain.
It was great. And it was great. And you know what? That's what a leader looks like. And that's why Iowa State's going to be a great program once again this year, is because they got that guy with the ball in his hands.
Well, how comfortable is your couch? Because you might be on it tonight.
The couch has always got to be comfy. Just remember that if you're married.
Got married.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're my man.
That's it. Taven, thanks.
Look at this. Speaking of my guy.
Iowa State, go to the Baylor Bears.
Team up here,
Good
man.
to see you.
Well, it's always the dream team when Franny's around. You know that.
It's a part of it.
Just dreaming about the season.
Hey, I love the gold shoes, by the way.
I did.
Green and gold, baby. Let's go. I know.
Tell us something, Coach.
I just got my Blazers, my custom-made Blazers.
Oh, there you go.
I wear these in Waco. I eat for free when I wear these in Waco. Not really.
You eat for free a lot of places.
Not really.
Yes, he does. That's why he has a lot of friends. 20 wins a season ago. I know you're looking for bigger and better. National championship a handful of seasons ago. Wasn't that too long ago? What have you learned here in the last 12 months and that impacted your approach going into this season?
I learned yesterday you can sign G League guys. I don't know what I'll learn tomorrow, but
this basketball is just crazy right now.
Yeah, I can tell you, for all of us that probably drive down a highway, you want to see a speed limit. You want to know it's enforced, and I think all the coaches are on the same page. Who can we recruit? Give us some rules, guidelines, and then allow us to be able to do our jobs. With that being said, the great thing about coaching, there's always things to adjust to. Rules change in officiating, which changes up what you might do offensively, defensively. You get new personnel, so you're going to adjust what you do to your personnel. And obviously, if you haven't adjusted in the last couple of years, you're way behind because there's been a lot of changes.
You've been a victim of your own success because how many years in a row have you had a first-round pick?
5. So we're the only school to have 5 straight years of a top 19 pick.
Right.
So I don't know how long of a first-round pick, but we're the only 5 in the last 5 years of a top 19.
You may have a 6th. You may have a 6th.
If we don't screw them up.
Yeah. But, I mean, as much as that's been an incredible recruiting tool, how is that? Has that hurt in some ways? That like Yves Missi was not supposed to be a one and done, and unfortunately, you did too good a job of coaching him. And my point is, at what point does the success of the program and all these great young players go to the NBA? It has to set you back a little bit.
Well, some you're probably going to have for 8 months, and you can plan accordingly, and then others develop and they leave, and now you're because to get somebody of that caliber, you probably recruited them 2, 3, 4 years. So when someone leaves, would we be a better coach if they came back? Absolutely. Yeah. Things seem to work a little better on the offense and defensive end. But at the same time, since 2019, only us, Houston, and Gonzaga have all won a game in the tournament. So we'd all like to win the last game, but out of 365 schools or 356 schools, whatever it is, 365 right now, there's only going to be one of them that wins that last game in the NCAA tournament. So at the end of the day, we've been consistent. We've won third winningest Power 4 program in the last 5 years. I take this line from you. The Big 12, Ken Palm Analytics, 9 out of the last 12 years, been the toughest conference in the country. So if you can win in the Big 12, you can win anywhere.
Coach, last year, roster construction, you kind of front-loaded your roster. You had a couple injuries that set you back. How did that change your philosophy as far as the roster construction of this year's team?
Well, just like every coach after a game, you try to make adjustments and improve in areas that you need to improve. And with us, we tried to get more size, length, and depth. So go figure. We've had one player already tear an ACL and is out for this year. And then we're waiting on our big Bodo from High Point to become healthy enough to practice. So we do like our depth, though. And hopefully we get Bodo back soon because we will have a lot more size and length.
This guy's a Southern California guy. He knows about.
Oh, we know all about him. Yeah.
Hey, I read The Culture of Joy this summer. Yeah. Even though I'm dyslexic, I read a book this summer, Mom. I just want to let you know.
Hey,
Scott Drew's book.
I read it every summer. Okay.
I can only do one.
Both of you are lying. Hey, both of them.
Tunde Yesufu from St. Joe's, right?
Stud.
Again, not like VJ, Jeremy Sohan. What do you see from him not only in terms of his talent, but in terms of his maturity, that you think he could make an impact on this year's Baylor team?
Well, the California all-time leading scorer, but the two that you named right away, VJ and Jeremy, both good on the offensive end, but both capable of being elite defenders.
Right.
And Tunde has that capability to be an elite defender, physicality, athleticism, size, length, instincts. But to be good on defense, you got to want to play defense, understand the importance of it. He does. So at the end of the day, as we all know, every player wants to score a lot of points, but the NBA has probably got 2 or 3 max deal guys. They're shooting the ball all the time. They need somebody to defend, and a lot of times that's the best way to get to the NBA.
Scott, thanks for doing it. I like that. I hadn't seen that in a while. The Baylor.
The Sailor Bear?
I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It's the Baylor logo.
We got a lot of versatility in our
retro
game.
here?
Yeah, we got a lot of versatility in our game.
Retro. I got you, Coach. Thanks for doing it. Appreciate it.
Hey, you haven't read The Culture of Joy, have you? No, I'm joking.
It's in paperback. It's in paperback.
6 months. You give it to me.
I'll get it for you on Kindle.
Thank you.
Not going to lie, took the Cliff Notes version and got through it really quickly.
Hey, thank you for all you guys do for college basketball.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Mentioned Yusufu, who is a McDonald's All-American Slam Dunk Contest winner. He's been chancellor.
One thing about Baylor, they certainly know how to pick them when it comes to freshmen, and Tunde is a perfect example of that. Tunde, you are 19 years old, and you already have a court named after you in your hometown of Benin, Africa. How aware are you of how impressive that accomplishment is?
I would say for me it's a blessing, and I can thank one person, is just God and the men above, to just put me in this position. My number one goal in life is, growing up, I always think about how the gift that God given me is just to inspire other kids, to pursue their dreams and believe in themselves. And for me to be able to, provide those type of things for people from my country is a blessing.
There aren't a ton of players from Benin, Africa, who have the opportunity to play on a D1 platform. With you having that, what does that mean to you personally?
It means a lot, first of all, just to carry my country, behind me, where my mother really come from. And I think it's, like, again, man, it's a blessing. I'm super happy. And with that, it always come, like, expectation and all that stuff. But I'm, willing to do it all.
Last one for me. Speaking of expectations, between your size and your skill set, a lot of people compare you to Anthony Edwards. When you hear that, what do you make of it?
Honestly, at first in high school I was excited about it, but now in college I want to be my own man, be my own product. I want to be Tunde, no or nobody. Of course, I will pick some of his skills and games, but I want to be myself.
Absolutely, and Tunde could certainly be a candidate for Big 12 Freshman of the Year for Baylor. We will be right back after the break with UCF joining us on set.
The heart of downtown Kansas City, the heart of college basketball. It's the Big 12, and it's Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day. And we finish with one of great men, not just in basketball, but it's a Hall of Famer, Johnny Dawkins.
Great
Hall of
human
Famer,
being, and
Johnny Dawkins.
Can I just add, last night, we'll talk about your team and playing Duke, but you went back home, and I've said this, guys. Jay Billis has said it, the most influential player in the history of Duke basketball was when Johnny decided to join Jay, Mark Owery, David Henderson. You were the last of that group, I think.
Yes.
They were begging you, Lefty Drizel, John Thompson, right?
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you chose that young coach from Duke who some people thought might not last.
No, absolutely. A lot of people thought I bumped my head. Like, but you know what? I had a feeling, and I believed in what he was telling me, and you know what? That dream came true.
Yeah.
We had an amazing time together. Shoot, still connected now. You know, some 40 years later. Can you believe that? So pretty special.
Awesome. Last year, the first 20-win season since you took Duke down to the wire back in 2019 in that second round. And you mentioned you played Duke last night. What have you learned about your team so far?
You know, I learned that we're very competitive. I learned that, you know, our guys are starting to get more connected. We need to be in a position to face another opponent, see where our chemistry was. I think it's coming together good. I think we need to improve in some areas, of course. It's early in the season, things we have to get better at, but I won't share them on the air. But I like our guys. I like their competitive spirit, and that's something to build on.
What's the challenge of having a completely new roster? It's a complete reset, but like, what's the challenges that presents to you as far as implementing your offense and getting all your schemes put in that you want?
Well, I think the challenge is trying to overcomplicate things. I think you have to keep things a little more simple when you know you don't have players as long as we used to. So what we've tried to do is, you know, keep it to the kind of things that we know are main foundational things offensively and defensively, not to try to stray away from those things, and to try to build, you know, consistency with that. And I think our guys have really bought in because these guys have come from 1, 2, 3 different coaches. Yeah. So you had 3 different terminologies. You have 3 different styles of play. And this may be your 4th. So we want to make sure things are simple, and we want to make sure these things guys that can take to pretty easily.
You're not alone in having a lot of newcomers in this league and everywhere in college basketball. And some of the guys are recognizable. Devin Cambridge has got great experience. Give us a couple guys that really you think have stood out so far and can be key factors for you.
Well, you just mentioned one. Devin Cambridge will be important for us. You know, he's a glue guy for us.
Yes.
He does a little bit of everything. Anything I ask him to do, he's a guy, Coach, what do you need from me? You need me to play center. You need me to play point. Anything that you ask, he's willing. And so you love guys like that. And he's a winner. And then guys like, you know, Jordan Burke. You know, I think, you know, a young man who has a chance to be really good in our system. You know, watching him grow over the summer and watching him, you know, compete last night, you know, you can see where if he continues on the track he's on, he can be an impactful player for us. Riley Kugler, same thing, another young player who I think has a lot of experience in playing in Power 4 conferences, and he's won. And so he's a player that I think will also be a guy that we lean on with regards to his abilities. And you can't do anything about the straw that stirs the drink, and that's our point guard. So Themis Folks is a guy that is very competitive. He's a little point guard. He's feisty. He gets after it on defense and offensively. He attacks all the time. So someone else that I think is good. And last but not least, a guy that I'll mention is Jermichael Stillwell, who's just a rugged, hard-nosed player. I think he probably fits this league as much as any player that I've had as far as just his size, his physicality, and just the way he, you know, approaches the game with a toughness that you got to have in this conference.
Yeah, led the Horizon League in rebounding a season ago. We've heard you we got about 30 seconds left, want to get some ready-made players coming to your program. How can you tell during the process in the portal that they're ready-made for UCF?
Well, it's a lot of study, a lot of watching tape, you know, seeing, you know, who fits our system. You know, every coach has a style. And so our style is we want to play usually 94 feet, whether that's full court, want to play a lot of man. We want to get up and down the floor fast. And so I need to find players that have exhibited those traits when we're looking, you know, at film. Do they get up and down the floor like I want to see? Are they competitive defensively as much as we'd like to see? And so then you build off of that. And we have I have great staff, a staff that, you know, spends countless hours working on that and trying to solve that riddle for us.
Johnny, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
enjoying the conversation. One of the guys that you found, we find with Chancellor. Guys?
Yes, Devin Cambridge of UCF, who's made a few stops now with the Golden Knights. You play for a number of different coaches, but what's special about Johnny Dawkins?
I would say, I tell everybody, like, he's the first coach that just set a vision for me. Like, on my visit, he had everything set, like, as far as workouts, how many shots you need, he had a whole checklist and booklet that he gave me for the summer, and I've never had a coach do that for me. So, and it paid off. Like, my growth has definitely shown through his workouts and things like that. He's the first African-American college coach that I've had. So that was unique to me, and it means a lot to me that I can, kind of relate to him and, have conversations, not just like a player-coach relationship. I have those, deep conversations, and it just didn't feel like, it feels like home, kind of,
I know it means a lot to you to also be back on the court. For somebody who dealt with some injuries over the past couple of years, how much of an appreciation of the game did you grow over that time?
I would say it was a lot. Like, I've never been hurt in my life other than, tearing my ACL. So that was my first time sitting out for that long. And it was a lot of hard days, tears. It just made me appreciate basketball. I know that I really loved the game because I wanted to be back and rehabbing 3 times a day, like doing everything I needed to do to get back, fully be 100, to have this last great year. So, I'm excited and looking forward to, making a bang, ending with a bang.
Real quick, I know you haven't played with a chip on your shoulder. After seeing where your team was picked in the rankings, how eager are you to prove those voters wrong?
I've always, like we were chopping it up earlier, I've always been picked, bottom of the league kind of, or like in the middle of the pack, like no matter where I've been. So it's nothing new to me, and I like it's like you get to play with free money. Like nobody's picking you, and you can go all out, and we have those type of guys that coming from mid majors, coming from these smaller schools, they just want to play with a chip on their shoulder, including me. So I think we have the right group of guys. I think we're gonna do some big things, and like I said, I'm looking forward to having fun with my teammates.
And I'm looking forward to watching you throughout the year. Now back to Matt, who's joined by some furry friends at the set.
Thank you, Chancellor. Best Friends Animal Society, giving some dogs that are available.
Look at my dog, though. Do you see my dog?
Your dog is completely asleep. I believe that's because you were giving it basketball analysis.
I'm like, okay, let me tell you a little bit about the Big 12.
Your dog got bored, Sean.
What about your dog? You're not like, hey, coach, give your dog some love.
Listen, this league has always been a dog-eat-dog league.
There it is.
But these little things are so cute.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
We won the puppy portal again.
Yeah.
So long from
Don't go in the portal, okay? Stay with me a couple years. Don't go in the portal.
I'm FaceTiming my daughter.